morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever, whenever, however you all are. Welcome to Clobby's Comic Shop, issue number 39. How are you guys doing tonight? It's Friday night. I mean, we're here. We're here to have fun. We're here to talk some comics. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be diabolically huge. I'm happy. You should be happy. Let's acknowledge those wonderful faces of the show. What's up, Lord Thoth? And I see a creative Welshman. Nice to meet you. It says we'll watch them morning. Good. We're worth that. Problems. My guy, Dave C. What's up, Dave C? How you doing, man? Jonathan Conroy. Stephen M. Kellel. What's up, Stephen? How you doing, sir? Rip a guy. Come on in backstage, man. We're waiting for you. Mohammed said, what's up, Nick the Grig? D-Bud Martin's huge. And of course, guys, for those on Rumble, we are dual streaming on Rumble because that's what we do here. So I will post the Rumble link if you're someone who likes to have it both ways and you want to dual stream, you're welcome to do it. Otherwise, you can stay in your lane on YouTube or be a Rumble exclusive. So we got some guys who love being on Rumble, like Madhouse Retro Gaming, Deepa 101. Just letting you know, you got options to read. You got options to read and stream and be like, okay, this is where I'm gonna hang. Hey, my guy Red Shirt. What's up, Red Shirt? Yeah. So guys, we got some fun tonight. Geek out a little bit. Obviously, a lot of stuff going on in the comic world. Some hushing about came by from Jeph Loeb and Jim Lee. We'll get into a little bit of that. We'll get a little bit of that Great War separation as well. And whatever stuff you guys want to throw it out our way comic-wise as well. But those are going to be the two core things tonight. So yeah, Hush 2 is definitely more of an earlier thing. Great War, second hour. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge. Let's bring in one of our great gentlemen this guy's been with me since day one. Let's bring him back here. What's up, Pablo?
Howdy ho! Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. I just got back from the theater. I saw Working Man. Actually recorded a video for the movie before the stream. So I got that video done, banged that sucker right on out, and now I'm hanging out with you guys. How are you doing?
It has been a calm day, to be honest. Somehow I finished everything I needed to do for a web page that I was helping with at 8 a.m. yesterday. Final changes like 3 p.m. yesterday, and since then I haven't heard a single thing that normally I will be worried, but I know I did so good on my work. I know
you did.
everything was dude. They have is for a fancy hotel complex on one of the best beaches here in Ecuador. And obviously is this fancy shit with everything. So they wanted to have a button that sends you directly to your WhatsApp to ask. Well, I get the suite that they are looking for and add it to the WhatsApp button. So when you click the WhatsApp button, you actually are sending a message from your WhatsApp, including every data that they will need to make the reservation. So you just click a button, you get your reservation. You don't need to do any more shit. It's perfect, right?
That sounds perfect.
Exactly. Is unless they say there's something that is not working, I can sleep soundly. So I have been playing video games. I have been enjoying some things that I have on my backlog. For some reason, this week we had 2 episodes of Daredevil.
Yes,
Am I
we
correct?
did.
Why?
We did have 2 episodes.
Well, I have a theory, but let's talk about that later. I'm just saying it was weird, the 2 episodes, but I had time to watch the 2 episodes. I had time to sleep, so I'm really great right now.
Well, I'm glad you feel good. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, we'll get to a little bit, but I won't probably cover a lot today because I've covered a lot this week on my channel and 800 other channels. But dude, I gotta get you on for one of these episode ones before time runs up. But hey, I'm happy you're here. Let's have some fun tonight. We got another gentleman here, and I missed him. I really did miss him, and it also feels weird having him not be around here. But I'm glad that the common nerd is here, and you have a very smashing shirt.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm very happy to be back. Yeah, the littlest one, the baby's been kind of sick the last week and a half or so, but she finally got to a doctor's appointment last week. It's all the weather changes and everything blowing in. She's got all this nasty drainage and a little bit of a cough, and yeah, it's just been hectic around the house and everything else. So, but yes, glad to be back. Hate it when I miss. So always good to be here. And I think I might be reading the wrong Hush. So, oops. Oh well, it's still really
Hush
good.
2.
Yeah, I think I'm reading the first. I think I'm reading the first version of Hush.
Oh no, it's 158. Yeah, you can't mistake it at all. At all. Yeah.
Is it multiple? Is it multiple?
There's only one issue of it so far.
Okay, then I'm reading the wrong version of it then.
Yeah, you might be
Wait,
reading
you guys,
your OG.
You guys got to Hush? How is it?
Hush 2, you mean? We're going to get to it in a few minutes. We're going to get into it in a few minutes.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah.
This is the cover to it in the private chat. That's the cover.
Okay.
Just so you see. But while you get yourself sorted out, I'm going to bring in our guest for the show because, well, he is our guest. And, well, I wanted to... He's probably not used to this whole streaming thing yet. So we got to give him a little comfortable. Let him make it feel like the seat is nice and warm and cozy here. But... welcome to the streaming world of where we do talk actual comic books. Nice to meet you, Rippa guy. How you doing?
Good. Can you hear me nice and good?
You sound perfect. You sound
awesome.
You actually generally sound good. Welcome.
Good. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm not used to this thing, so just let me know when I can talk. I mean, I'm all game. Whatever you want to talk about, so we're good.
Just pay attention to the flow, and you will start to see the dynamics of things going on. You'll eventually form your groove. And also pay attention to the comments on your side. There's the comments on stream, and then there's the private comments, which is like our group chat between us. So if
I see that.
let's just say like maybe an image you want to show off or an action figure, you put the link there, we can show it off there. So we'll walk you through it. You'll trust me. This will be good. This will be nice and fine and dandy. So yeah, see you got it. You're already learning. See. We're walking you through it just like that. Oh, look, I see a Subhuman 84. Muhammad said, if you plan to make a Discord so I can flow. That's the thing, dude. I don't want to go back to Discord. I really don't. I miss Gilded. Gilded truly was the way. But then Gilded did that stupid Roblox thing. I'm waiting for something to come up that is not Discord or Gilded. If something comes up, you guys let me know. I will look into it, and I will make an account, and then we can have our own little forum where we had 100+ members talking about whatever it is that we wanted. That was the beauty of all that stuff. It was just so much fun, and I could be gone for, let's just say, like a week, and you guys were still chatting your faces off on Gilded. That's how fun that Gilded club was. It was so many good times, a lot of watch parties, so many good times. We had the Gilded King Vince Womack, we had the Man Flu, that was the Toxic Man Flu hanging out. It was a good time, and if we want to duplicate that, we need something that's not Discord or Gilded. So hey, I hope alternatives pop up. There's nothing I can do until then, but hey, you never know. I'll keep an open mind. Yeah, I know about the regular one that's in the Energon U. That was killer. I know it was last week, or was it 2 weeks ago? That was absolutely killer from Joshua Williamson. I had so much fun with that. It was retarded. I was like, oh, hey, G.I. Joe? Hell yeah. So, yeah, in the big, I guess we'll call it the mainstream side of the books, there was a Batman that came out, and there's a lot of controversy about this. And I don't think it's about the quality. It's just more of a, is this appropriate to do? And it was a sequel to Hush. So they brought in Jeph Loeb and Jim Lee. Pablo, did you catch wind of this?
God damn it, I was muted.
Did you catch
No, I
wind?
didn't.
No, you did not. Okay, so basically they decided they were going to get the band back together. It was going to be Jeph Loeb, Jim Lee, the same creative team from Hush. The original series is good. The movie sucked, especially the ending. Like, don't ever watch it, folks. Please, just don't. Like, don't.
The animated version?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
horrific. It's
Yeah.
horrific.
One of the few times that the DC animated didn't nail it.
No,
Dude,
this
the
was
past-
a big fumble.
I will say,
Huge fumble.
There's
Huge.
like 4 to 5 years of really bad DC movies, and then you have like 10 years of really amazing
Oh yeah.
DC movies.
Oh yeah.
I think the last one that I actually did like was Batman Ninja. I know they have a new entry on the Batman Ninja, but they are supposed to be back on the present and everything. And why the? I have no idea.
So okay, I'll get into it a little bit. So I decided to take the bite. I'm like, no, I'll look at see what's going on with this Batman comic, and I noticed a few things good. When I was last reading, was it 7 years ago? Right, man, time flies. 7 years ago, when Tom King did his wedding that wasn't, there was no nods to the wedding that wasn't. There's no nod to the few writers that have taken his place after. It just starts off like another issue of The Dark Knight. And I'm like, okay, there's no mention of it. Okay, good. This should be like common sense because we should pretend the last 7 years didn't exist. And they don't. And Jim Lee, I've always said, no, I've always kind of preferred his art back then. It's fine now. It's good, especially with Alex Sinclair on colors. He really does compliment him. And it feels like there is an intriguing premise in this issue. Obviously, it's the first issue. It's a setup issue. I do feel like the premise, though, is if it's what I'm thinking it is, I think it could be something that could be good while we have Jeph Loeb and Jim Lee. It's asking the question of why won't Batman just do it already? Okay, let's just say, why won't Batman do that certain particular deed? And I'm like, we're finally answering that hard question. Okay.
We have answered that question several times in
No,
the comics.
but it's about a particular character.
Okay.
Oh, is
okay.
right. That's what's different this time around. It's about a particular, not about him in general, but about a particular character. And Mr. Thomas Elliot, aka Hush, is the one, let's just say he's the one challenging him on his authority or lack thereof on the topic. So really pretty much like a standard get the pieces together, and it reads and feels like an older like a 2000s, let's just say 2000s era Batman comic. A lot of narration. Jeph Loeb relies on very minimal speaking from Batman. And they do acknowledge that there's an overabundance of Robins and Batgirls and all that, and they don't show them. We just get Barbara Gordon and Nightwing. Please stay that way. Probably won't, but please stay that way, because why not? Less is more. So, wishful thinking. So it's like they know, oh, this is way too many characters. Let's just keep it simple and to the point with these few characters. That's what I got of it. Maybe I'll be wrong, but that was what I was feeling from it. That's exactly what I was feeling from it. I will say overall, though, it actually was a solid comic. It was a solid comic, and should they revert back to BS-ery after, well, I will jump right out after, because I'm here for Jeph Loeb and Jim Lee. And Jeph Loeb, I actually prefer him when he did the Long Halloween, preferably story-wise. I was a bigger Long Halloween guy. You've read Long Halloween, right, Pablo?
Yeah, I was. The issue is that. Okay, do you remember that they actually also tried a movie for the Long Halloween recently?
Oh, yeah, Clobby, but when he was living amongst us, shout out to Clobby, rest in peace. Him and I did a review on the first movie of the two, and then we didn't go on about the second movie because he told me about what they did with the second movie. I'm like, I just won't watch it, and I
Yeah,
never
exactly.
did. I just never did, and that's unfortunate because the animation style is cool. They had a great voice for Batman. They had a great voice for Catwoman. It seems like they were trying to respect a lot of what Tim Sale was doing with the visual style of the Long Halloween as well, which I like. Well, and another one, rest in peace, Tim Sale. Jeez, man, we're losing y'all. We're losing y'all.
Dude, so I have cooled off over the long Halloween.
Define
That's the
cooled
thing.
off.
Yeah, I was more bullish about you need to read it. It's incredible. Now I'm like, maybe the movie was showing parts that we didn't want to see on the comic, or we didn't have enough time. I don't know. I need to read it again. I need to.
Read it, reread it, and then get back to me because went back to it in more recent years, and I love it more now than ever. I loved it then, but now my fondness has grown exponentially for it. And by the way, chat, let this be your heads up. We will not be here next week. I repeat, we will not be here because I'll be taking my kids to go to SmackDown outside of Chirac.
Nice,
So,
man.
yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It will be very cool. They're really excited by it being their first event, so they are both madly jazzed. It's really crazy that I got two little girls who are they're all in. And I mean, they are all in. It's funny when they talk to me about uh, matches and rules and storyline ideas. It is so crazy to see how they are already entertaining all these angles and how they perceive certain heel turns, certain face turns. And they do know the terms too, by the way. At 9/11, they know exactly what that stuff is. There's no watered downness with them. It's if guys ever talked about wrestling, they're probably gonna look like posers next to them. They're probably just gonna look like posers. So don't blame me. I just happen to actually know what's good.
I grew up with WWF and everything. Like those terms, I never knew about it, right? So now I'm getting back into it. I'm getting to know those terms and just
Yeah.
realizing what the type of work that goes into all that stuff.
Oh
It's
yeah,
crazy. It's crazy, and sometimes there's mistakes too, and you don't realize that.
And
But
when the mistakes happen,
back then, I thought everything was real, like for real, for real. So it's just fun. I miss those days, man. That's cool.
will you learn that everything is predetermined, but there's a lot of shit that happens to their bodies physically that is real. What the outcomes are predetermined, but the damage to their bodies, there's a realness to them that is actually very, very real.
Dude, all you gotta do is watch Mick Foley walk around.
Oh God!
Shit.
Oh man! Mick
That was
Foley.
the dude, man.
And that fall he took at King of the Ring '98. There's no way
he was
spin that.
he was only supposed to fall through one of the cages, and he ended up going through all three of them, if I remember correctly. To hit that floor, he was only the second one. It was supposed to be reinforced enough to be able to hold his weight, and it wasn't, and he went all the way down. So yeah,
it's amazing what those guys have put their bodies through. I know apparently I haven't seen it, but I've been told that the movie from Mickey Rourke, the wrestler, does justice to what guys go through with their bodies. I haven't seen it, but I've been told that movie's a really good depiction of it, and that's good to know because it goes to show you it's like there's a major script element to it, but the physicality that we take, everything about that is a very, very real thing. And a lot of the extensive injuries, some of them are done for show, but there's also ones that were done for real. Like it was a 2001 2002 Triple H's injury. That was genuine. That was a genuine injury what Triple H had. When he was out for 8 months, that was I'm actually supposed to be done, and I don't know if I will or will not come back. But lo and behold, obviously he came back. But yeah, I got back into it because my kids got into it, and I kind of like buckled along for the ride. And we've just been kind of like coming up Millhouse now with it. It's really wild to see how invested they are.
How did they get into it?
Huh?
How did they get into it?
How they get
Netflix or something?
Raw on Netflix and Royal Rumble.
Oh, Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
cool.
Those were the two things. They saw the Royal Rumble and Raw on Netflix, and now it got their attention, and now they are just in love with everything about it. It's funny. It's funny to see who they like, who they don't like. Too. It's really hilarious to see. They both love Logan Paul, even though he's the biggest heel. They love Logan Paul. It's so
He's such an
crazy.
influencer. That's why he's actually talented. Like the skills.
Oh
and
yeah,
high
yeah.
flying moves. That's amazing stuff.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
no, that's for real.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
I do like Penta. That's a guy I personally really
Penta I
like
like.
Penta. I think he's great. Yeah, Cero Miento. Yeah, I mean that's an easy sell for me because Luchador, because that's where you got all the high flyers.
Yep.
Anything involves Latino guys, you know they're gonna do some crazy shit, and you
Exactly.
can all. Even their worst guys are still pretty good, so that's a good problem I have when your worst guys are still pretty good. Um, it's funny. They both. Who can they not stand? They cannot stand Seth Rollins.
Oh,
They cannot stand
he's
Seth
such a
Rollins
diva,
at all.
man, with all his fancy stuff. But
Oh, they hate the outfits. It drives them crazy. Like, oh, what's the new stupid outfit he's gonna wear this week? Oh, it's so awesome.
yeah.
To see
What about the
how-
Usos? I know that Yeet thing is picking up. Are
Oh,
they into
dude.
that?
Between them and a lot of kids their age, especially mostly boys, the boys that I know, yeah, they love they love Jey Uso for the Yeet thing. That is like
That's
as soon
cool.
as he comes out and does that, they're doing it at home on the couch. They're
That's
both doing it
interesting.
at home on the couch. So it's fun. It's really funny to see that all happening. It's like wow, okay, so this is what it's like to see it from that perspective. So yeah. Seth Rollins is probably their public enemy number one, though. That's definitely that's the guy who we do not speak fondly of him in this house. Basically,
Wow.
that's the one. But yeah, they really like Jey Uso, Penta. They like Cody Rhodes as well. My youngest, she really likes Io Sky. She's the Japanese one. She
Oh, is that
really-
the one that just won the championship? or-
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. She really likes Io Sky. I like her too, for what I've seen. Um, he's terrible. Well, he's terrible as far as what he does, but as a character, it's great. We're all actually really liking Chad Gable of American Made. The fact that
Oh.
that guy he's running that whole I'm going on a quest to figure out like the history of the luchadors, but he's wearing an American suit while doing it. Oh, you gotta watch it. It's hilarious. You will absolutely. It's the most ridiculously over the top hilarious angle, and Chad Gable's a master with it. So, we're really enjoying that angle. So, yeah,
Cool.
we're really liking that. They don't like Randy Orton, which is funny. They don't like Randy Orton.
I like his RKO though. His moves is
I
like
did. It's a fantastic move.
I like it. I like that. I like that move. That's crazy.
It's
One of my
fantastic.
the favorite the favorite wrestler, my favorite wrestler was always The Rock, and it's
Mhm.
amazing that he's still going now, especially his build, his movies. But I do like how he was a lot more. What do you call it? His promos was a lot more raw back then. Nowadays, it's a little bit. I think he's trying too hard. But man, back then was so
he's-
funny, man.
He's kind of blurred the line. I feel like a little too hard between The Rock
Yeah.
and Dwayne Johnson. Now it's like it kind of like we don't. It's because back then he was the character. Now he's just kind of himself at all times,
Exactly.
Hmm.
and that's kind of how I feel on the angle. Now I will give it. I saw his match last year. He still got it in the ring. He still got it.
Oh
There's
yeah,
no-
yeah.
There's
That's for
no denying that. And we got a $2 Canadian super chat from Jennifer Grover. Says, "Hi, honeys. Hello to you, Jennifer. Cheers and beers to you. Hopefully you're having a good night up in the great north. Thank you for dropping in, starting off the night red hot with the $2. But no, it's awesome. I'll probably report on it for everyone to know about how they reacted to their first SmackDown. I did show them some stuff from when I was a teenager. I showed them Stone Cold beating up Vince McMahon at the hospital.
What about DX? Did you
Oh,
get to that point yet?
Oh, we got into some. But it was funny when they're like, "I'll take her from here, nurse," and they laugh when they saw when he smacked the pan on Vince's head.
That was
Or
funny. I remember
Stone Cold
those.
and Booker T at the grocery store. Or when Stone Cold had the giant beer truck and used the beer hose on The Rock and Vince.
Yeah.
It was funny to see, like, whoa, what? I'm like, yeah, Monday nights were a wild time when I was a teenager, and this is every Monday night. You never knew what was going to happen next. So
Yeah.
they do like Steve Austin. They don't like The Rock, but they like Stone
No,
Cold.
they don't.
They don't like The Rockets, but they love Steve Austin. Oh, it's so
Oh,
funny to
that's
see.
Oh.
Oh, but dude, yeah, Booker T was great. I did show them Booker T. They like Booker T. They like to spin a Rooney. They thought that was cool. They like when he does his hand thing. So it was cool that they like Booker T. I'm like, God, like my God, Booker T. I used to try to practice the spin a Rooney in middle school all the time, and I'd fuck that shit up.
Oh, you did that? Oh man,
I
never
tried. I
never
tried.
I was never a break dancer or anything like that.
Can you
but
dig it, dig it, dig it, suckers?
Oh man, that was funny. That's funny.
Oh no, it's great. You know, it's perfect because there are some lines of like comics and wrestling because they have really flashy, colorful suits. There are storylines involved, and obviously you have writers involved, and there's even been some cool wrestling comics that have been done as well that have really nailed the atmosphere of matches as well. It's really cool that when you really break it down, there are quite a bit of parallels there. If you don't see it at surface, when you break it down and think about it, wrestling and comics have quite, especially particular superhero comics, they got their parallels, especially hero, villain, the morality, lack of morality. The angles are there, man. The angles are freaking there.
Oh, yeah.
It's so wild. It's seriously, it is a spectacle. It really is. And I mean, I guess you would even make the argument that the luchadors are probably the closest thing to looking like actual superheroes since, Rey Mysterio, Ultimo Dragon, Juventud Guerrero. A lot of those guys, they all had masks, which is
That's
the
why
coolest
a
part.
lot of that's why a lot of superheroes are designed based on luchadores.
Yes.
Oh.
And Rey Mysterio still got it too. 50 years
Yeah.
old, homie still got it. Rey Mysterio's still the man, dude. Rey Mysterio, wow. I'm so happy that he has no need to be there anymore, but he's still out there kicking ass at 50, still being a high flyer. I'm sure he goes straight to bed after his matches are done. But hey, while we have him, it's entertaining and it's great.
Oh man, and I know
Uh,
Undertaker's retired too. So man,
Yeah.
that's man, I miss him too.
Oh,
Nick,
yeah.
I need to eat a bit of crow.
Talk to me.
A few minutes earlier, I said I'm no longer bullish about the Long Halloween. I load the comic and I get to page 5 and I'm sharing. So if you can, I remember why I
Sure.
was so bullish on the Long Halloween. And this is just page 5.
Sale. Yes. Tim Sale had a different art. See, if you're
The art
comparing
is
Tim
great.
Sale's style compared to, it's phenomenal. But if you're, let's just say, if you come from like a Jim Lee type of background, you're probably gonna look at it less fondly because Jim Lee is all about doing poster spreads. Like Jim Lee, everything Jim Lee does is basically a poster spread, whereas Tim Sale tells a story with his art. He's there to complement the writer, and Tim Sale was so freaking good.
Look
I
at
love
this
it. And
paneling.
he also he nailed the neo noir style, the more old fashioned looking style better. Like Lee, he knows your story when you read it. It's very current. Tim Sale makes you feel like you're kind of going back in time a little bit, and I do appreciate that aspect from Tim Sale. Hardy
Dude,
boy,
look
oh
at the
dude,
composition of the paneling here.
all right,
Tells
no
you-
dude,
Even
this is
without
incredible.
the text, it tells you everything you need to know. It tells you
Mhm.
the state of mind of the character, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Is no, maybe they shouldn't ever try to make a movie with the Long Halloween ever again because maybe it's not easy to transform into a movie, or maybe they were just incompetent. Either or.
The answer is, I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. Lots of male toxicity. I feel like he had some of the best
Oh.
drawn Carmine Falcone. You had a lot of really great art
The
going on in the
shadows
series.
here, man.
Oh, dude, right? Once again, it makes you feel like you're like watching like an old movie, like a really old movie with
Yeah.
these images. I see, and I'm just like, man, take me back to when people dress like this all the time. There's so much a class to this story. There's an element of class there, and I love it. And then the mystery, you got Calendar Man, and like Hush, there's a bit of a villain ensemble cast. But dude, oh yeah, then the spread here from Tim Sale. I love the way Tim Sale draws Catwoman. I
Yeah.
love Tim Sale's Catwoman. I feel like he does one of the best Catwomans I've
It's a mix
ever
between
seen.
OG 60 series Batman Catwoman and Pfeiffer Catwoman. And it's the right mix. It's just it doesn't have the stitches, but it's still a full body with the ears and everything tight, really tight. But then you get some details that are more like the 60s, like the high gloves. Obviously, those are not white, but it's that feeling of fancy, fancy looking, kind of really ladylike that they used to have in that series. So I love this design for Catwoman. Yeah, yep, it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it is fantastic. You see
And
it, and it's absolutely like, man, Tim
obviously,
Sale
you
is so
have
good.
the shoulder spikes. You get a lot of muscle on Batman, but the flow of the cape and everything is just, yeah. Uh, Maybe they should then really try to match this because they just fucked up so much. And
I've
again,
Yeah,
never,
paneling.
I've never seen a version of Catwoman like that. What year is this
this
comic?
is the mid '90s.
97.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
97, 98?
Yeah, I sent this collected edition as a gift to Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank. He's my one of my highest paid tier members. He's a Dolph Lundgren member. I sent this to him as a gift. This whole
Wow.
edition, yeah. It was like,
Beautiful.
yeah, and I'm like, dude, like you don't have to read the story right away, but just get immersed in there and then read the story because you're gonna see great Tim Sale art for weeks on end just dissecting all the pages. And once again, his Catwoman was one of the best. I love his Catwoman.
Man, got the whiskers and the tail, everything.
Yeah.
Right,
The design.
right.
Yeah.
It's killer. It's so good. I like how he also makes the purple look good too, because sometimes purple can look not as serious, but he makes it look
Unnatural.
really good
Yeah.
and serious on Catwoman.
Is the problem is getting the shadows right on purple. There are some colors that are really easy to give some depth and some 3D aspects. Uh, Purple doesn't really blend that well for shadows for some reason, or at least in my experience. This is really difficult to nail. Here,
Yes.
you add a bit of gray, a bit of brown, and just everything else is black. That's it. That's the shadows. It's simple. It works perfectly.
I
It's
gotta
cool.
acknowledge this comment really quick. From Subhuman 84. Hardys versus Dudleys. Yeah, dude, I showed my girls these ladder matches because they really like the ladder matches, especially when they saw Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. And they asked, what are other good ladder matches? And I'm like, these guys right here. All six of these guys right here. And I told him about the story. So there's this mall in Illinois. It's the biggest mall in the state and one of the biggest ones in the country called Woodfield Mall. And I was shopping one day, and it was at the Hot Topic at Woodfield Mall, and I was kind of just looking around with a few buds of mine, just kind of killing time. And I kind of turned around, and then I bump into a guy, and I apologize, and he apologizes right back. And I look at the guy, and I kind of like did like the double take because I'm like, I know who that guy is. And then it sank in, and then I realized, holy shit, that was Matt Hardy. And then who do I see approach him? It's Jeff Hardy. And I'm thinking, holy, in my mind, I didn't say anything out loud, but in my mind, I'm thinking, holy shit, I just bumped into Matt Hardy. There's his brother, Jeff. And then I learned, oh yeah, they got a pay-per-view, so they're going to the mall that weekend. They're hanging out at the mall. I couldn't buy, and it's funny because when you look at Matt and Jeff on, let's just say TV, they look smaller compared to everyone else. We'll just say ... compared to everyone else. But right up close in front, they looked a lot bigger in person. The camera is very deceptive that, especially when you put them next to like a Kane or an Undertaker, or even like next to a Triple H or The Rock. They look tiny. But up close in person, dude, I was shocked. I'm like, that camera does not do you dudes justice. It does not, because they're big guys. I could never believe it about the Hardy Boys, but here we freaking are. I think Common Nerd finished Batman.
Oh, just a
Sure.
simple thing that I noticed while normally I will obviously read it on paper or read it by clicking and changing the page. It's the first time that I read it this just vertically align everything, and I noticed obviously it doesn't follow any normal template for structuring the panels, because obviously you can see that most of it is just custom made on the fly, the structure of the pages. It doesn't really follow some of the basic templates that DC has, but it has a flow. So everything basically
It's almost like
gets destroyed,
storyboards.
gets reconstructed. Then you get panel, and a small portion. Remember, at the beginning you had
Can
panel,
you go
panel,
back? Can you
a
go
small
back down?
portion. Yep.
Go back down. Look, right. Stop at those 2 pages. Go up.
Here.
What I like about that page and the one above it, it's like you're seeing a photo album coming undone.
Yep.
I
Wait,
love the
there's
photo
more.
album coming undone.
Because then you have a regular flow for any comic, but the distribution, this is horizontal, this is vertical, this is horizontal, full panel, then reconstructs, then normal paneling, full, then it goes again into vertical, then it goes again into horizontal. You see what I mean? It has a flow, it has a structure. It's not obvious because it's not the normally used structure, but it's great.
See, now you gotta reread again and be like, holy shit, what? I must have been on some serious shit that day, because this story has aged well. There's nothing wrong with this story. Pablo, I'm telling you. I'm not trying to just blow smoke up your ass.
I saw it and I felt like because it was supposed to be exactly the same in the movie. Obviously, there's some changes, but I felt like the story was dragging and it was boring, and it was in the panels. It feels so fluid, so intense. How you fucked up so much?
I don't know, dude. I just don't know. But you know what I do know is that you need to finish this out, and then maybe we'll have an excuse to talk about it later this year. I think that's we're planting the seeds right here live to talking about this comic later this year. You heard it here, folks. First, folks. Sorry, been up since freaking 5 a.m. But you get the gist. You get the damn gist. And Steve Mitchum, I see in the chat. I gotta text you, buddy. You're welcome to text me whenever you want, but you and I gotta follow up because we gotta talk about Vegas. Probably one of my favorite books. What the Beneath Floors? Oh, I love your name. By the way, in case you're here, because obviously our great guest Ripper guy's here, we will be talking the Great War of Separation in 20 minutes. We will be talking about it. We haven't forgotten. Just enjoy the ride. If you got a drink, enjoy your drink with it. But we're gonna have fun with that conversation. Believe that. Comment. Did you read Batman number 158?
I did.
Be honest with us, because I talked to my buddy Gray from Wakizashi's Tea House, and he enjoyed it, and him and I were kind of in the same boat that we enjoyed it, but it seems like opinions on it are mixed. But it seems no one thinks that it's terrible though. They're just or yeah. Where are you?
Well, so I didn't get a chance to fully read the first part of Hush. So like, so
Yeah,
I'm
you don't have to.
Yeah, well, I came into it a little blind because obviously there's some background information you know about the main villain for if you'd read the original series that they just kind of throw at you in this one. But no, I mean I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's one of them situations where like it's good. It's just like I like the ending was just like really that's where we're ending this. That's how we're gonna do this. But like okay. You know, because I'm like, son of a bitch. And it's like, where's the next part? And like, you can't click it. And they had like Green Lantern at the end. But it's one of them situations where it's like, that is,
a cliffhanger.
It's funny because, yeah, it's a hell of a cliffhanger. And then the worst part is I don't even know if they ever even finish it off or not. Or maybe they intentionally leave it like that because of the question it leaves you with. You know, is he going to leave him there or is he going to save him? You know, and it's he's, you know, Batman's being intentionally manipulated, you know, and he finally starts to realize that all of his systems have been compromised. One of the things that I did find funny was when Nightwing's like, I mean, there's like 19 Robins now and 29 Batgirls and a Huntress. Like, isn't there someone around there that can find him? You know? And I'm like, well, technically he ain't wrong at this point. You know?
No, he's not wrong at all.
So it's like that part I loved. I love the levity of it. The art looks good. You know, I love seeing Batgirl back in her proper costume. You know what I mean? It's fun to have her as Oracle for a little while, but like eventually Barbara Gordon needs to put the suit back on and have that beautiful flowing red hair flying all around the pages and everything else. But yeah, I mean, yeah, so I enjoyed it. It's just like, it's one of those things that it kind of seems like this is a moral question we've seen done before. And I don't know if the Killing Joke came out before or after this. But you have I guess it had to have come out before this because of all the Oracle stuff and everything else. Before. Yeah, but it's one of those situations where it's also it's kind of the same. It's the same question we've seen asked before. You know what I mean?
Because but there is a bit of a different thing here to the angle. It's about one particular guy, especially since Hush set him up to, let's just say, that particular guy to be left for dead.
Right, exactly. So it's one of those situations, he's not actually doing it, but also at the exact same time, you're like he's not going to leave him there. He's just not. Because his conscience wouldn't let him do it. For all the whole, I am the night and I strike fear into the heart. He's got a conscience. He's got a code. You know what I mean? He can't do things like that. Because at the exact same time, leaving him there is just as good as killing him yourself. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Did you ever get to read Death of the Family? Not Death in the Family. That is when they kill,
Death in
of
the
Family. That is when the Joker is without a face and everything and breaks up with Harley.
I read it once.
Yeah,
I read it once. I was the Screw 52. I respect what Greg Capullo did art-wise. Story-wise,
it was mixed. Yeah. There's a bit of shit there. There's a lot of shit there. I will admit. But then they also have the discussion about why Batman doesn't kill. And well, it's basically the same answer that they have had some few times. Because maybe Gotham will throw something worse. If I kill the Joker is the worst villain on Gotham. Gotham is a monster that creates monsters, and every monster is worse than the last one it created.
Mm-hmm.
So if I kill the Joker, what will Gotham create now?
Yeah.
Is one of the answers. The other one is that on Red Hood or under the Red Hood, I don't know if I will stop. I don't know if I will stop killing if I kill the Joker. And no,
once you cross that line.
Yeah, there's a couple of times that they have made that question, but normally the answer goes either on the line of I don't want to cross the line because I will never turn back, or I don't know what will be after I become that. What is the next evil, right? So yeah, it's part of the Batman mythos, that question, but it has been answered to hell and back.
It has been answered. I feel like this angle, now that we got Joker now absolutely left for dead,
Yeah.
who if he does not get attended to, keywords from Hush, because Hush did
Yeah.
a serious number on him.
Oh,
He
yeah,
did a
did.
serious number on him.
The line was also on Arkham Asylum. Actually, a lot of things from the Arkham Asylum came from the comics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, sadly, they can I spoil Arkham Knight? Have
Of course
you ever?
you can.
You
Everyone
guys-
already
Oh, yeah, the
knows.
game.
Okay.
Yeah,
Obviously,
Everyone
Batman dies
already
at the end
knows.
of Gotham
Suicide
Knight. Is
Squad.
basically he obviously showed his face, revealed that he's Batman. He gets into the mansion, closes the door, and the mansion explodes. And that's basically he seppuku himself. He sudokus himself, right?
Mhm.
He Sudokus himself.
So they broke any way to keep doing Arkham games.
Mhm.
Then they tried to do Arkham Knights. That was bullshit. Then Suicide Squad. That was bullshit.
And now they're gonna go back to another Batman game now after they
All I
fired
wanted
90% of
was
their
to play as
staff.
Batman. It was cool as
That's all
fuck.
anybody ever wanted. That's all anybody ever wanted. That's all anybody ever wanted. That's all anybody ever wanted. But yeah, so it was. It's just like, I think other than that, I really enjoyed it. I think the character interactions are great. I think a lot of the dialogue is wonderful. The art's fabulous on it. It's just, it's like I said, it's like one of those. And I want to see, I want to see the ending. I want to see the rest of it. I want to see the part 2. But it's also one of those things where it's like I said, it's still also a question. It's a question. It's well done and well thought out, and it does give a little bit of a new twist to it. But it is still kind of a quandary of Batman's that we've seen before. But other than that, yeah, I thought it was great. So not the best thing ever, but good, very good.
Yeah,
I would recommend.
I agree.
I would recommend it, and I think that's the best compliment I can give anything. I would recommend you read it. I would recommend you spend time on it. It's worth your time.
Huh.
Well, dudes, we say fuck it. Let's transition early. We're transitioning early. Let's talk the Great War of Separation, because this is a very major book. And I know obviously 3 out of 4 of us have read it, and I feel like this is a very essential thing. So what we'll do, we'll let we'll let us 3 have our thoughts on it, and then we'll kind of just have a go at it between all 3 of us. All right, and Pablo, if there's anything you want to ask questions on, chime in on, just chime in. But Common, I'll let you go first. Tell us your thoughts on this, because this is a major book. This is a very different book.
I haven't read it.
Oh, you haven't?
I haven't read it yet. No, dude. I just had a baby back in January. I'm broke as fuck.
Okay, well then I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Elvin. It's on
I
you,
haven't got a
man.
chance to read it. Yeah,
I got older kids, and
boys.
I have older kids, and I still don't have time to read the comics on time. Like, I'll get the book and maybe read it like a week or 2 weeks later because of all the busyness with the kids, man. But yeah, I understand that. So, you want me to go first, Nick?
Yes, sir. Go.
All right.
I'll go
So,
right after you. Ooh.
Great War Separation.
I'm embiggening you. I'm embiggening you, by the way.
Oh no. There you go. Great War Separation.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the reason why this book was so important was we found out about the Great War Separation from this card. You had to get the Dokkan card, and those who had it then read the back of it. Then you heard
batch what, by the way? Let be specific.
Yeah, this is the Dokkan card set number 1. And so I think there's 11 cards or 10 cards. I don't remember. I still have them. But so this is the Brian Solari card. And in that card, there's a line that says, a veteran of the Great War of Separation, his journey started with the Texas military. Boom. Already is like, what is this Great War of Separation? It's in bold lettering. Bold lettering. Where is that?
I'm embiggening you again.
It's in bold lettering. Ooh.
Yeah, it's going. No, it's clearing up. It's clearing up. I see.
Great War Separation. And so it was like, okay, it's bold. They want us to know about it. It's probably a story that's gonna happen, and that was the only reference we had of it. And so then theories came about, like, what is this thing? This thing happened in the past. This is was Brian an experiment now? Did he have powers? Being was he born with powers? Everybody was theorizing about this. So that's why this is so important. And then later down the line, Eric and the Rippaverse came down and said that this is going to kind of give us the origins of or at least many of the excerpts that we know of, such as Brian and maybe Ison too. So we'll see how this goes. But the story right from the start, it was how should I say it? It wasn't like complete yeehaw, I like it, but it was very sad at the same time because it's a war story. And so the way this stuff started, because we already know that this is what's going to be in the book because of the trailer, but they go about how all this stuff started, right? And it was so sad because it's going back and forth, right? And then it's not only going back and forth between people who are part of what's known as the United States in Rippaverse lore, but also the people, the cartels that are, I guess, Mexico. So they're fighting, and then now internally, U.S. is fighting with each other because DC is not agreeing with what Texas did to defend themselves, and so it was just back and forth. It was really sad, and it's like, man, if this ever happened in real life, like I would be real sad. That's kind of how I got it. So it was a great start in terms of like you're in for a war type of action story, but then when it got to the political and a little bit of the emotional stuff where people kind of was bashing each other and hating each other internally, uh, that was a little emotional for me. Um, but also many of the stuff that was in the collection, they had the posters with all these people, all these other excerpts or exceptionals, what they call it back then. Um, I was hoping to see a lot of that in the book. It wasn't so much there. I don't know if you realize that, Nick. Is like, okay, where are these guys? I thought we were gonna get a little bit more of Xeno, um, but we do know that there's gonna be more books, so we'll see more of them. So I think it was a great start to just kind of give us that foundation of where everything started. So I really like that. So now all our theories and our thoughts about what this Great War of Separation, we are now reading it. We are now experiencing it for the first time, and that's what I like about it. And the fact that we have the Great War of Separation #2 in pre-order already, we didn't even know it was going to come that quick, right? There was no indication, and so it came, and now that's in pre-order. So I'm excited about getting that as well. And I wonder if we're going to get 3 and 4 at least by the end of this year. And if that is the case, that's great because I want
Is
to
it?
finish up the story by the end of this year.
No, I'm hoping it finishes up whenever that does. Whether it's 3, is it for sure 4? Is it for sure 4?
There was he mentioned at least 4. There might be a 5th. I don't know, maybe because pages or they need to expand a little bit more to explain something. So there might be a 5th, but I think he
Okay.
said guarantee 4.
Okay, 4. We'll say 4 or 5, give or take. Yeah, I'm with you. I really enjoyed this issue. I was not expecting how going to have a war outbreak that would lead to the separation and secession of the United States. I had no idea that it was going to be a thing about the border with because it's very relevant today. Yet, ironically, let's just say the CEO who runs the company, honestly, it's a thing he doesn't really ever give attention to. So maybe that was a Chuck idea because he's made very clear that's not his speed. That as far as like issues in politics, the border's never been one of his particular issues. Now, that all said, how we feel about that, it's not relevant. But the point being is the fact that we made it around the Texas. Now, it makes sense, of course, when you put it into perspective. I mean, there's a lot of gang violence that happens. There's a lot of issues that happen at the borderlines. Cartels are absolutely a thing. I've talked to people who've worked at the border. So it is very relevant to that timeline, even if it is something that the CEO of the company does not speak on. But the fact that it was weaved into the story and you had both sides of the conversation being entertained, on it, and it does know how to ask tough questions about were these military guys in the right to do it, were they not, because there was an element of payback because one of their own got hurt, but at the same time they had to cross the border to do it, and they did it well without authorization. So there is a bit of a, was it right, was it wrong, and those are really, that's a way of putting in political hot topics, and you can kind of make it fun and ask hot questions like that, like, wow, should he have not done that? Because that's a tough angle, because you know, you want, obviously we all want payback for our friends when shit goes down, we all do, but at the same time, when jurisdictions and governments get involved, stipulations change, the figures involved are different. It becomes a whole other can of worms. So you actually have to entertain tough questions. I think that was a great angle to play at, is how do you feel about it? Because there's no point in time you're being told what side you need to feel about it. Now, they told you how others felt about it in the story, but
Right.
it was never being told how I need to feel. I think I'd safe to say people who know me know how I would feel on that angle. Um, but I thought that was a really entertaining angle to make out of a very tough question. Because when you get involved in those hot water spots, you can lose the entertainment factor. You really can. And not one point of this that I felt like the entertainment factor of it was dying. It felt like we were still in the midst of, well, the escapism, even though it was in a hot button type of topic.
You know, you brought up a good point about what did you say? You said something about just it makes you ask these questions. And I think now that you said it, I think maybe that's how I felt. You know, when we heard about this book, I thought it was just going to be complete action,
Yeah,
and
so did I.
all the good guys was just going to be the winners and things like that. And then now we have like a story that almost feels real. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not feeling so excited throughout the whole book. I actually feel like real emotion is like, man, I can't believe this is happening. They hate each other. Why is this guy talking like that? Why are they doing this? Why are they hating on this guy? I think what he did was good, but you guys say it's bad. It's like, so it's, yeah, it's, so I think it's a good book because of that, right? It's not just a book to just keep us entertained like an action movie. No, like it makes you think. It makes you think. So glad that you brought that up. Another thing, not just the story, but the art. The first
Jack
page,
Herbert's art is really good.
as soon as you open it up, man, I'm like, wow, the colors. We do have a little bit more info on the actual separation of nations, territories, or whatever you want to call it, countries, right? So
Yes.
we get that summary of what it is, of whatever it is at that time during the book. So that was interesting. We had a little preview during Gooding, and
Mm-hmm.
what's his name? Mike Barron wrote in his letter in the front, right? This is where he started to mention
I'm embiggening you real
about seven
quickly.
different countries. Yep, about seven different countries he writes in here, right? And so he talks about U.S. and how it they reformed as seven different countries. So it already he gives us a teaser of what that is, and now we have the Great War of Separation, where it kind of goes into what those seven are, um, and a few other countries. So that was nice to see, and it set the tone for how the rest of the book was going to be. I don't know if you noticed, Nick, the whole book was actually narrated by the very first person
Yes.
in the beginning of the book. Okay,
The
I had to
teacher.
read it. I read it the second time, and I was like, wait a minute, she's narrating this whole thing. I was like, wow. So that was a good way to tell the story. And so there's two different I guess what you can say timelines here, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the current whatever of this book talking about the past, and being given all the visuals and all the actions and all the stories and all the information about when that happened. Um, so I like that. I didn't realize that until my second read, and I thought that was great. So
No, I noticed that right away, and I love that angle because, you know, it's a good way of entertaining things in a retrospect type of sense, because you get a young Avery Stillman asking, "Hey, what's going on here?" and let me take you to the before times, which is,
Right.
like a story, like a textbook. Let's go back in time, kids, to the before times storytelling 101. So it's a trope, but a really well done trope that is absolutely warranted in context of what is going on. And I love that. And also really gives you angles of where Avery came from, a younger Brian Solari came from. And Brian's side is really, dare I say, questionable here. He is a very questionable side he's taking on. Which like, hold up, are you working the good guys or are you not? Because you want to go to Texas, but man, I feel like Brian Solari is definitely more of a wild card than he is, let's just say, an Alpha Core. I did not expect Solari to be in this position where he was going to be working with, well, let's just say the opposition. So I'm like, I am curious to what end will he turn and go to the other side, because obviously we now know it's an inevitability. But I'm curious what gets him to change his mind, because I didn't expect to see him being on the default front lines on the other side. So it's like, okay, now you just open up a can of worms there on his origin story, basically.
Yeah, that was a quick decision. There was no, side information or quick backstory about why he made that decision. It just happened, right, in a few pages. So we saw this in the trailer, right? 2-star general basically saying, "Here, take the stars. I don't want it. I'm gonna do my thing." And that's not the type of Brian Solari we kind of knew of or know of from Alpha Core #1, where he was talking to the police, I guess police chief, and right, he was standing at attention, and he's like, "This is my boss, I gotta listen to him." But over here, in as a 2-star general, he's just like, "I'm out." And so there has to be some reason to that, and I'm wondering if we was presented Brian Solari in that way because it wants us to think about why he made that decision, and maybe that decision might be expanded upon in the later books, and maybe there's a really good reason for it. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be there. Something like this doesn't just happen abruptly. It's clear that there's got to be a motivation that comes into play when you're entertaining that type of angle, especially from a very radically different position, considering how we see him now versus where he was then. You don't just wake up the next morning and be like, okay, hey, I'm just gonna go over here now. No, there's something that kind of like goes through a process of change, and that could happen and accumulate over the process of days, some cases weeks, sometimes months, years, whatever. You get the point. It's something that really has to sink in and marinate through time. You really have to let it sink there. It's kind of like when you're cooking a turkey for a long time. You gotta really let it sit there and grow in on you. You can't just take it right out and just go for it. No, Brian Solari is got to be the Thanksgiving turkey. He's gotta let it sink in. So I just can't believe I made that make sense about Thanksgiving, but here we are. Here we freaking are. All right, we got a direct donation from Anonymous, and let's see what happened here. Okay, well, bear with me here. I gotta get us some clips.
There's no sense in going off half-cocked.
Oh my God, the cock.
Sexual discrimination.
And we got a $10 direct donation. It says, just for being brave enough to wear those glasses. Whoever that was, thank you for the $10 direct donation. Appreciate that. I love these glasses. Whoever you were that sent that 10, thank you very, very much. Appreciate ya. Cheers and beers. Yeah. So, okay, anyways. Yeah, Brian, that's my angle, the Brian Solari angle. I like that we has a really killer Jack Herbert art in this book. So I come from a lot of DC, and I noticed him from DC books. He did a lot of Action Comics, and to see him being brought in to do the Great War of Separation, he really fits in perfectly because he has a really great blend of light stuff and a lot of darker stuff, and it really has a great shift between the two tones within the book, and yet it still feels like the same comic without it being outright polarizing. Because sometimes when you shift the tones like that, if you get too light or too dark and then you whiplash it, it can definitely start to feel like, is this two stories jumbled into one? No, this still feels like one cohesive story that we're still trying to tell a narrative on. And I feel like Jack Herbert really blended the two dualities of light and dark in the story, because it didn't feel too dark, but it still didn't feel happy-go-lucky like a beautiful Golden Age comic either.
Yeah, you guys been, I don't know, doing comics or reading comics for a long time, so you know these names like Jack Herbert and things like that. Me getting into comics now with Rippaverse, I am being familiar with these names now, like Chuck Dixon, Jack Herbert. We got Marcos Martin, some of the colors. We got Will Conrad, all those people. So it's kind of great to, because I've always wondered, like, how do you guys remember these names? Like, how do you guys know these people's, the work they did? I am realizing that now is like, I know where these guys are doing their works. I know what cover they did. I know what interiors they did. It's really nice. So I just, thank you, Rippaverse, for bringing me into this world, because like I love it, man. I don't know, like my family doesn't really get it yet. My little girl, she likes it when she sees the comics, especially when it's shipped out in the front door. She's like, Dad, your comics are here. So she likes just seeing all these colorful books and these arts. So she's into the covers right now. I haven't read her the books inside of it, but she's getting into it too. So it's an experience. So I like it.
No, that's good. You could see it from our side. Yeah, that's why you remember these artists, writers, inkers, colorists, pencilers. Once you get immersed in something, you start to learn the ins and outs of things, and then you start becoming like obsessed. We'll just say it here. We're obsessed. Yeah. And you want to get into the top and bottom of things. You start caring about these little itty bitty things, and you start dissecting it like you're Sherlock Holmes. You got a magnifying glass on things. And we do have those entertaining conversations like we are right now, where we talk about these small little details with every comic. And we've done with Marvel, DC, Image, yada yada. You need a publisher, TMNT, Transformers, now Rippaverse. And this conversation, it's just second nature to who we are. I mean, Common Nerd here below you, he had only read select books, maybe even less than that. Maybe I'll let him speak on that. But once he got into let's just say some old school books, he's starting to catch on to certain names, happenings, key moments. He definitely can now chime in on some of those type of conversations, and he also has a point of reference to understanding where people like us come from with comics like this. Yeah, Common Nerd. He definitely is no longer a comic normie. He's someone who's, I'd say he's a level or two above casual. I'd say he's a level or two above casual.
I would say that's relatively fair. Yeah, no, I came into this as pretty much I'm more of a normie when I started watching Nick's show on Friday nights, because I was just like, somebody mentioned it or something like that in one of the other shows that I was watching, and it popped up on Recommend. I was like, ooh, pretty, because I like the art in old comic books. I always love the art. Like I read some Ghost Rider as a kid. That was like one of my first comics as an actual kid, which is one of the reasons why I hate, like I loved Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that's not Ghost Rider if he's not possessed by the spirit of vengeance and he's not riding a fucking motorcycle. He's Ghost Driver, and he's actually possessed by a serial killer. So if anything, he's Demon Driver, if anything. But like, yeah, a lot of this other stuff, it's great now, because like I knew a lot of the legendary names. Like, of course, like Kirby and Ditko and obviously Stan Lee. Clobby'd have some things to say about that. Shout out to Jack Kirby. But it's one of the situations where it's like, but getting into it and being able to dig deeper into it, it also makes you appreciate more why a lot of some of the modern stuff and some of the changes they make irritate people so much too. Especially when you go back and read like classic Spider-Man, like the Ditko stuff we were reading and all the stuff before that and after and everything else. You're like, Oh, okay. I already didn't like the Tom Holland Spider-Man. Now I hate it even more. Because like all I knew was like, the Amazing Spider-Man from the 90s, the X-Men, obviously Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League. I watched all of that stuff. I mean, I got Batman the Animated Series on Blu-ray sitting on my desk out here. I'm literally reading this Batman comic that we were reading tonight, and it's Kevin Conroy's voice in my head the entire time, as it should be as far as I'm concerned. And then we also just lost Alfred today, the guy who voiced Alfred in the series and also did Darth Vader's original voice in The Empire Strikes Back, or in the Star Wars movies, in the original ones before they switched it over. He did that too. Plus he did a bunch of Hanna-Barbera stuff. But yeah, so Alfred and Kevin Conroy are officially having conversations again. But
good.
Yeah, it's just, and it's one of those. Yeah, but you get into it and you understand. It's like we got into, like we read, like, I don't know, I think we talked about reading some Hellboy, or we actually did end up reviewing a Hellboy, and then I read like every Hellboy comic I could get a hold of in like 3 different runs. I did the same thing with Solomon Kane. Like we read one issue of Solomon Kane, and then I read like 4 more miniseries of Solomon Kane after that. And that's been the best part about coming in here, is getting to experience all that and actually knowing what's the good stuff, right? Because I love going to cons and buying comics. I mean, I got fat stacks all over the place back here on my bookshelves, plus all my Rippaverse books and everything else. You know what I mean? It's like I'm like, okay, I know there's basically, don't get anything after like 2005. Like really, if you want to push it, don't get anything after 2000. You know what I mean? And so like I'm just digging through stuff. I'm like, ooh, okay, this looks cool. The art looks neat. Okay, ooh, prior to 2000, cool. We'll go ahead and get that. It's a nickel. Why not? And so like that's one of the best parts. And you just find so many incredible stories. You understand why this medium transcends so many things, and you can do so many different types of stories. It's like people think of comic book movies and they think of superheroes and they think of, Captain America beating up Red Skull and stuff like that. But you also have to think that Constantine's a comic book movie, and that's literally an exorcist running around removing demons from the planet. You know what I mean? Then you've got horror genre. There's romance genre. Comic books is just a medium, but people think of it as a specific type. And that's one of the things that screwed Marvel up so much, is everything's got to fit this superhero mold, where it's like, no, comics are genre pieces. You've got a bunch of different genres with a bunch of different types of directors. You need to get in and expand these stories and explore that kind of stuff. And we're seeing the exact same thing in the Rippaverse. They're doing a great job of that now. You've got your traditional superhero story kind of with Isom, you know what I mean? Your kind of street level character, your Spider-Man, your Daredevil kind of guy. And then you've got more of the, you got your little bit of your Superman and Brian Solari and stuff like that. Obviously we've got our Batman now, and then you've got your space stuff. So now you're having all of your sci-fi epics, and it's the exact same thing in all of those different branches. And that's the thing that you're seeing, that shows you how much that the people involved, obviously because they've got legends like Chuck Dixon and Nolan and everybody else, right? But it's all, and obviously the Saska sisters as well. But it's one of them situations where you can see that now, that they understand that's how a proper comic book universe works. You're going to have different genres. You're gonna have the horror with Blood Ruth, and then you're gonna have the street level stuff with Isom, and now we've got the space stuff with all the new guys, and now we're going back into the past with the Great War of Separation, which I was the same way. I got the Dakumon cards, the very first edition, right when I got the I Want It All package when they first Isom dropped. So like that's been the one thing, especially. Yep, exactly. And as being a guy who lives in Texas, I actually live in Ripa's college town. I know his track coach. Yeah, I know his former track coach like really well, and so it's like it's one of them situations where it's like I love seeing that, and like being a Texas guy now, I'm like, oh yeah, of course this is how things went down, so it's like fuck the rest of the country, and now we're the biggest dog on the continent, and I kind of knew from like some of the Dakumon cards and like what Eric was saying and everything else that's the kind of the direction we were going in, and of course Eric's gonna draw something where Texas is right. A story where Texas is its own country. Of course he is. But that's the thing that's what a lot of these people that just look down on like nerds and people that are into like comic book stuff and fantasy stuff that get excited about this, that know about it, that can rant for 15 minutes about it and not repeat my sentences. That's the thing that they don't understand. It's so much more complex. Nerds aren't stupid. They never have been and never will be, because if they were stupid, they wouldn't understand and love the complexity of this stuff, and they wouldn't be able to talk your ear ear off about for 45 minutes straight about what their favorite, what their favorite fandom, what their favorite IP is, and so that's the thing about it. And if we ever get to a point where people have the resources to really create this stuff on a big screen scale, people doing it the right way, you're gonna have horror fans that are gonna be going and seeing comic book movies. You know what I mean? You're gonna have guys that love mystery stories going and watching comic book movies because it's so many. It should appeal to a very broad audience. It's just like a book. People are like, I don't like books. I don't like to read. I'm like, you just haven't found a book you're actually interested in. There's too many books out there to say you don't like to read books. You just don't like to read the books people have made you read in the past. If you're a sports guy, go read sports books. If you're a car guy, go read car books. If you're into rock and roll and fucking crazy rock like Nick is, there's a million fucking books about the history on all these rock bands and stuff like that. So it's the same thing with comic books. Trust me, I guarantee you there's a comic book out there that you would like no matter what you're into.
That was
see, all I'm
comment.
hearing is that rebranding is going to be a bitch. Because, my friend, you are no longer just a common nerd.
Well, that's why I tell everybody it's like so everybody's like, why the common nerd? And I'm like, because jack of all trades but master of none, but sometimes better than a master of one nerd is way too long for a channel title.
All right, so Brad Young has a great comment here, and maybe I'm reading it the wrong way. You tell me if I'm reading it the wrong way, Brad, but I think comment already knows what I'm alluding to. Harley Quinn helped me conquer my fear of clowns, but started a whole other problem. I think I know what problem you're alluding to. It reminds me of one of my buddies who actually lives in Chirac. He's like, I didn't know I was attracted to women until I saw Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman in Batman Returns. He's like, that's when I realized that tingling sensation.
Dude,
that's when I discovered I had spider senses.
With Harley Quinn,
I think that's what Brad Young is. I'm totally correct.
He went from the honking of the clown noise scaring him to the honking of the clown noise raising his desk by 3 inches.
No, man, it went something like this. He sees Harley Quinn on screen and he goes like, I didn't know she could inflate balloons.
What's up, your Muslim uncle? How you doing, buddy? And Beneath Floors Park, which, by the way, I love your name. It says, me and Thinkening are little opposites when it comes to our taste. He had no interest in blood root and could gush about gooding, while on the flip side of the coin, that's fine. I think that's great. I think that's awesome. I think that's fantastic. I mean, horror's not going to ride with everyone, but for those who do ride with it, they freaking get on the automobile and they go 90 with that shit. There's no denying that. You can have your opinions or not on horror, but for those who get on the automobile with that shit, they freaking go in overdrive with that shit. I mean, just look at don't matter when like trends go up and down in, let's just say, movies, horror always has its fans. Always does. Whether you like it, the genre or not, it always has its fans. It has a very dedicated fan base, and that cannot be denied. And when someone is attached to that, and especially in that genre, they don't care what's considered in or what's out. They like it because they like it. And you know what? And I gotta say, I respect that consistency. I really gotta admire that because that fan base is super dedicated. Whether I like a movie or hate it, they're gonna see it all. They will see all of it, the good and the bad and the ugly. They do. They for me, like, I'll give an example. Halloween. Love the first Halloween. One of the greatest movies of all time. That's like a total normie opinion, I guess, in that regard. But for me, a lot of the sequels don't exist. But horror fans, they've seen all of the sequels. They've seen it. And you know what? I gotta say, I respect that. I absolutely admire that. Even though I'm not interested or invested, I get it, man. I get it. If I was into that type of thing, but for something more leaning my way, I'd be the same damn way. And horror fans are always going for that shit. They always do. And now, to be on the subject, I love the shit out of Bloodruth. I think it's probably my second favorite. I almost spilled some beans there. So we'll just say it's probably my second favorite book of the entire continuity. I'm not gonna put number one out there, but it's my second favorite. There you go. That's the closest I get to ranking. Because I don't do that for my videos. I try to keep that. Because if I say everything's the new best thing, I'm no different than every MCU show. But I'll say if I enjoy something as much.
The best.
No, but Bloodroot is my second favorite book overall. I won't say number one, but yeah, you know you heard it here. That's my second favorite book. So,
I don't like to do the too much of the ranking as well. But yeah, Bloodroot is my favorite because it's completely different than the others, and I've never got into any type of horror comic book before. I've seen horror movies and things like that, and I like some of them, but a comic book I've never had. So this is very, very interesting to me, and that's why I like it more. I don't think I like it more than the others. I just like it in its own realm of whatever it is. It's just really interesting, so I like it. So I'm looking forward for more
helps
Bloodroot
that
for
you're
sure.
smoking hot too. Like that
You
don't
know,
make it
like
any
a
harder.
bit, yes.
That don't make it harder to read at all.
An easy reference. I know this is a convenient example, but I'm going to use it because it's convenient and it's more or less relevant. Look up Mike Barron's Dead Man, Love After Death. It was a two-issue miniseries he did as a writer, and the artist was Kelly Jones. And it's obviously based off a DC character. It is an incredible read, writing and art-wise. And Kelly Jones is known for being one of the most oddball styles of Batman ever. But you can see where he masters his art when it comes to horror. He really nails the horror environment. He's actually doing with a writer named Matt Wagner for Kickstarter. They're doing their own Dracula book. And Volume 1 came out. It was really good. I mean, I don't know how often do you watch Nerdrotic, but he's been on Gary's channel a few times, Kelly Jones, to promote his Dracula book. And I got Volume 1. It's really good. I backed Volume 2 instantly. And they absolutely killed it. Pun completely intended with the first volume of Dracula. And I can't wait for book 2 because it's going to be Dracula book 2, The Brides. And oh boy, Kelly Jones's art is absolutely incredible. And Mike Barron writing Dead Man. Mike Barron, oh, he kills it with Dead Man. His Dead Man is so good. I love it. We did a show on his Dead Man. I think last Halloween. Was it last Halloween, guys? Tell me if I'm wrong. I think it was last Halloween.
Yeah, I think it was last Halloween because I remember reading it because we read it.
Oh,
it was really
good.
fucking good. That's why I'm like sitting here shaking my head the whole time because I was like, yep. That shit was fire, dude. And I love Dead Man. I think Dead Man's a fun ass character, and getting to see him like that and everything else was a lot of fun. So yeah, because he hangs out with Constantine sometimes, and Constantine can't fucking stand his ass.
Yeah,
neither can Superman for that matter.
I feel like horror translates really well to comics. I don't know what it is, but for some reason I really have this element of suspense that sometimes I may not feel in a particular movie, but I'll feel it in a comic that's horror drenched, whether it's Dracula or The Tomb of Dracula. I really feel that horror element. There's something about that suspense, about the turn the page, that really feels like, ooh, menacing there. I love it. And Bloodroot has some pretty wild out there shit. It really does. It gets pretty out there. But yet, it's still a really heartfelt story despite how wild and out there it gets.
Did you do a stream yet reviewing that?
I have not. I've
okay.
wanted to. I'll probably do something separate on that because I would like to talk about it.
That's
or
another
even
thing I
maybe
can
when
get into
issues
for sure.
1, 2, and 3 come together, do like a three.
Yep.
I'm still figuring how I want to do that. I'm still figuring that out, but I do want to do something for that. And I'd be glad to have you return for that. When that happens, however, the format that happens. But I need to really make sure I think that through, because if I'm going to have something going for that, I want to make sure it's the right show, the right time, the right panelists. I want to really make it as engaging as possible. But no, I really enjoyed Bloodroot a lot. I got the regular color, and of course I got the black and whites. And the black and whites add a whole other like old movie look to it too. I love it. It makes me feel like I'm reading an old movie. And as someone who likes a lot of old movies, it's like, oh, they were trying to please my boomer ass. Thank you. Oh, core member, great comment here. So I'm gonna bring this back to, I think it was the last time Kelly Jones was on Gary's channel. He said, "Oh yeah, I'd have fans come up to me at cons and tell me that they hated the long years on Batman." You know what? I don't. Let's just put it this way. I don't completely disagree with those fans. I get it because I myself was not wild about Kelly Jones's style when I first saw it. I'd see it and be like, the fuck is this? Who allowed this?
I'm
Who
looking at it right
allowed
now.
this? I look at it, I'm like, who allowed this? But then I reevaluated my opinion once I started seeing his stuff outside of Batman, aka Dracula, Deadman. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. And I've kind of always had that. There's certain artists where I will hate what they do with, let's just say, someone in the big two, but when I see them doing something else, I then fall in love with it. I've had that same issue with so many artists. So many artists. I'm like, oh, okay. And there's certain guys where when they do a Marvel or DC, I'm like, who the fuck are you? Get the fuck out of here. Scram. Someone, security! Get rid of that guy. Get him out here. He's got AIDS or some shit. I don't know. Just kick him out. He doesn't exist. And also that same guy does some original shit. I'm like, fuck, that's good. And the rest is history. That's simply it. I don't know. Core member, look up the Deadman stuff and look up the Dracula stuff. Seriously. When you see that, you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I can see it. I can see it now. I can see it now. And then you're like, I've seen the light. I've seen the light. and you will have seen the light. You will have. But anyways, God, we really went off a path there. But it was great. It was a good tangent. We still kept it relevant too at the same time. So I guess we do get we'll give ourselves our own pat on the back for that one. But overall, Great War of Separation, #1, really strong first issue, tackling a hot button topic. It moves really quick too. It has a really great flow to the story. You get characters introduced well, showing off younger versions of key characters who become very prominent. And nothing about it feels overly jumbled, disorganized. Everything just feels like it has a nice, smooth flow. Like kind of like someone who's trying to learn how to ride a bike and they're having like a really organic journey. And this comic feels like it's just a really smooth, albeit intense story. It's smooth for us because of the flow of the story. For the characters, it's anything but smooth. There's bodies dying and people are having a war, debates, and the politicians, I'll tell you, that shit made me laugh with the politicians. The politicians just kept talking and talking and talking and talking. Like, man, that sounds very familiar. Wow, you are hitting close to home with that comment. I had, but also Governor Sanders. Love him. Governor Sanders, the guy who was lieutenant governor who becomes governor, love him. I'm like, can I have a governor like that? Can you come to Illinois, kick out Pritzker? Can I have a guy like this, please? Is that too much to ask for? It made me wish like governors were cool like that. It's kind of like when you see like a president in like Air Force One or Independence Day, assuming if any of you guys have seen those movies, and you see those guys who are like, wow, the presidents in those movies are awesome. Why can't we have... I want a governor like this from the Great War of Separation. Come on, damn it!
He was so chill when he was talking to people from like DC. He just like whatever. And he brought up something about like just buying new flags at the end of that scene. It was like
Oh,
he's just chill. I was like, he was like, he had this whole intense conversation. He's like, just gotta buy more flags for the Capitol or something. What? Where's this going? This guy's so chill. But yeah,
that's his
well,
budgetary concern.
yeah.
That was his big budget concern was, oh, it's not about what we got to afford as a state. It's just we need more flags. Which, as someone who's now been to Texas enough times, I could say the Texas flag is, dude. I went to a Walmart in Houston, and I remember on one side was a whole wave of American flags, but on the whole other side of the store was a whole wave of Texas flags. And I remember I talked to Brandon too in Texas. He's like, we treat Texas out here like it's a country. And Common here, who's from Texas, it's a country. It's a country.
Yeah, it's a country.
It's a country.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like,
It's an attitude, man.
I get where this
It's an
governor
attitude.
comes from because I've experienced your guys' state. I get it. And maybe it's because I get it, it rings that much more hard home to me. I feel this guy that much more. I'm like, this Governor Sanders is my guy. Maybe I just need to go to Texas and wish him into existence. I don't know. Maybe I'll get the Dragon Balls and like make a wish. I don't know. But we need a Governor Sanders. I like this guy. So that's probably my biggest takeaway character out of issue 1 so far. What's your takeaway character, Rippa guy?
The dad, Jacob.
Oh, Jacob.
That's his name, right? Yeah, Jacob. Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah. Jacob,
So-
yeah.
I don't know. There was a line in there where there's joking about age, and he said he's 28. I don't know if that was a real number or they were still joking. So is he
Mhm.
28 years old? There's a scene there. He's pretty strong. Bench 315 pounds. I don't know if you noticed that.
I noticed that.
And so he's gonna leave. He's a guardsman, and I wonder where is this all of this. I'm trying to remember. Do we know that his dad died in a war? trying to remember.
I can't say I remember that particular part. If that was a thing, I don't remember that.
Trying to remember. So, but yeah, that was interesting. So he's being showcased here. So I'm sure we're going to see more of him later. And I wonder. I mean, where's that going to go? So yeah, Jacob for sure because that was different. Yeah, that's it for me. On another topic, I don't know if you realize this. It talked about Texas and its economy, world's 9th largest economy.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that's in the lore of Rippaverse. So how does that translate to our real world? Our real world, 9th is I think Canada. 9th largest economy right now.
That maybe he can answer. If there's anyone in the chat who's from Texas,
Canada ain't doing so good.
who can answer that? You guys in chat, let me know. Is there any parallel, or is that just a thing done for this universe? That's a good question. I did think about that while I was reading that. I did consider that. Is that just an in-universe thing, or was he speaking a factual statement? I would like to know on that. That's definitely a very good question. If there's once again chat, if there's anyone in chat who can answer on Texas and the economy, how great or supposedly not great his economy is, please let me know. Comment when you get your ass back here. You can let us know if you know shit. We got a question here from Beneath Floors Park for Rippa Guy says, my worry about the Great War is that it will do what a lot of modern day comics do, make modern day social commentary that rips me out of the story. Is this a legit concern for you? I'll let you answer first, and then I'll answer second, even though it's not directed for me. But I feel like I can answer this from comic book experience. So go ahead, take it away first.
I saw this question. So when I got into comics back when I saw Red Ice #1, I did go and get some books from DC and things like that because everybody was complaining about things have been changed. So I was like, oh, let me just find something. Let me get a good storyline. Let me read. I got a story, a set of series. I think it was Black Adam. The first couple pages, I bought like 4 of them or 5 of them. The first couple pages on issue #1. when I read it, it reminded me of something that I just saw on the news, and I'm like, it's like, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I'm reading a comic, and it's almost like I'm just reading almost verbatim what I just saw on CNN or some other news thing, right? I hated that. I just because to me, reading comics is like taking you to another world, right?
Mhm.
Something different, something that has no relation to real life. So I didn't like that. So I think from that experience, I think that's where his question is coming from,
Mhm.
where it's this whole political and war stuff in the Great War of Separation. Is it matching what we kind of are experiencing or seeing in real world? And if that's the case, is that a turnoff? Um, I don't really see that in the Great War of Separation right now. I mean, it is a turnoff about how the political sides just went back and forth with, DC and Texas. I hated that, but it just felt like just something that they're dealing with. It didn't feel like it was something like I've seen on the news recently, or something you know politics have real life politicians have commented on in real life. Maybe something like the border, the border thing, and the building of the border. That maybe was kind of like, oh, that feels a little bit more like real world, and that could have been maybe a turnoff. At the same time, it's like they were doing that for a reason when this whole war thing happened uh, in the story. So I didn't take it as something, something like real life. So I think that's what he's trying to get at with that question. I'll give it to you, Nick. How were you going to answer this question?
Knowing I don't blame him for his skepticism. I'd say it's a very valid concern. I get where it comes from. I mean, I've been around comics almost all my life, and I get that perspective, especially when so much stuff has given us an immediate knee jerk reactionary thing where the littlest thing kind of just makes us jumpy. It's kind of like a jump scare in a horror movie. I get where that comes from. I don't think it's something to be concerned about because of who we have involved as far as writing personalities. Uh, when you have a guy like Chuck who not only just comes from years of veterinary experience, because honestly, the veterinary argument is not a good argument, but it's the argument of how can you balance that out while still being entertaining. Chuck is a guy who can do that because there's a lot of veterans out there who are vets and they're good, but they still also have a way of, let's just say, making the story revolve around the politics. Chuck has a way of bringing you into the story, letting you know, hey, there's this really super intense subject matter going on, but here's the story first and foremost. So I feel like this showcased that very well. Yeah, you saw some stuff that definitely hit a little close to home today, especially with the border. But there was not one point in time where they were telling us, the reader, how to feel about it. You had different sides on it, and I can maybe see why people don't. You want the littlest sliver of anything, even if it's not telling you all the type of books. I would say if that's the case, it's probably just not the book for you. And for me, maybe it comes from being the book for me because I mean, one of my buddies' channels. I talk politics on his channel a lot. It's just something that I've really been ingrained with because, well, like a lot of characters in this books, I wanted to be left alone, and to get me involved, you had to really have pissed me off. And because now you pissed me off, now you're gonna hear from me. So, I think it's being safe hands with this book, and I genuinely feel that way. If I felt like there was a red flag, I would have just said it. I don't feel that way. I really don't.
Oh, and by the way, eighth largest economy in the world.
Eighth! It jumped up! It transcended!
We're one of the or literally the only. We're, I think, as far as I know, we're the only state in the United States that can live completely independent of all the rest of the states, because we're the only state in the union that our power grid is not connected to anybody else's. Our power grid does not depend on any other state except ourselves. Like that was one of the things like Trump found out the other day. It's like New Jersey and like New York get a bunch of their power from Canada, and he's like, what the. When they were talking about all the tariff stuff. But yeah, like Texas, we're on our own power grid. Our power grid isn't connected to anybody else because of all the different types of land we have. We can grow every kind of crop that we need as far as wheat and cotton and all that kind of stuff. Plus, obviously, we've got plenty of cattle. We've got all the forests out east. We've got all of the deserts and ranch area out west. So yeah, we've kind of got we're big enough to where we can handle ourselves on our own. We actually that's why when Texas is always like, it's like, yeah, it's because we really don't need the rest of you fuckers.
Also, you are headquarters to a lot of big tech companies. You have a lot of
Especially
really
now.
incredible specialty tech engineers. Is absolutely
Dude, they're
outstanding. The quality of engineers you got. So if anything happens, yeah, Texas can kind of rebuild itself with robots, and I'm not even joking.
No, we're literally launching rockets right like an hour and a half south of me. So yeah, we're good. We don't need the rest of you fuckers.
All right.
You need us.
We got great questions here from other side of the fence. By the way, welcome to the show. Enjoy your stay. If you enjoy a glass of alcoholic beverage, get your glass out and enjoy it. If not, if you're straight edge, you're welcome here too. He says, what's the prediction for the war? Who started the war of separation? The start of the war of separation, Americans and Mexicans did. Both of them. There was a retaliation and on America to Mexico. And Americans on one side had issues with the retaliation, and there's Americans who said, hey, this is just what we should be doing. You fuck with us, we fuck you back type of thing. So as far as we start, I would say Mexico started it. The cartels in particular. Not Mexico as a country or even its government, but a lot of the cartel types started this. And my prediction is, well, we're going to see Texas really become as independent as it gets with the story. We'll obviously get the Brian Solari turn. How that happens, I don't know. I think we're going to have some really interesting government problems with the other powers that be in the United States who are going to have an issue with Texas so nonchalant and voluntarily wanting to be independent from them, because a lot of governments rely on others wanting to be dependent of them. That's my prediction as far as how this is going to turn out. Ripper guy, if you want to have at it with this, and well, you do, guys. I'm gonna go get my glass refilled. So if he finishes chatting and I'm not here, just go ahead and keep chatting. But I'll try to be quick.
I got you. Yeah,
Let me see if I understand what Nick was explaining. Basically, is Mexico says fuck you, America says fuck you too, and then says, well, fuck us then, and everybody fucks off.
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. The way it started, though, it was weird. The way I say that is, it almost seems like everybody was the borders. It almost seems like everybody was at peace for a while, and everybody was. It was. I think it started as a routine thing. It's like, okay, you're crossing. We catch you. We tell you not to come here. Whatever they were going to do, which we don't know yet, but put them into jail or take them back to wherever they came from. I thought it was routine, and all of a sudden this guy just this whole thing just blows up. And I almost feel like somebody, maybe there's a bigger story to this. Maybe this whole thing started because one person or a group of people actually wanted this to happen, to make Texas its own territory or country, separate from this United States in the Rippaverse lore. I wonder if that's a thing.
If there's a conspiracy behind it.
Yeah, conspiracy. That's what I'm thinking. And then that could lead to a whole different set of stories, a whole different group of people that is part of the lore, and we'll find out more about later. I don't know. Um, so that's how I feel about it. I don't think it was just kind of by accident. It doesn't feel like by accident. It almost feels like it was planned, and now things are happening the way they are. So in terms of the war, who's going to win? I mean, it's still too early to tell. We kind of already know, right? Texas does become its own independent nation, right, outside from the United States. There's other nations or countries that separated before this thing happened with Texas. So that might be another set of stories that Rippaverse is going to talk about later. Like one of them was they're talking about Bromhouse, right? It's like, Brian, go there and get a hold of things in Texas because we don't want another Bromhouse situation, right? Um, so that happened. So I wonder if it's a bigger conspiracy here. Texas is going to be its own thing, um, but how does that affect DC? Um, do they want to retaliate later? Do they have plans? Do they bring in other people into their so-called United States? Um, they're neighboring Canada and Mexico, right?
Yeah.
That this might be a little bit problem because it's already happening now in real life. But what if the Rippaverse lore, now the United States asks Canada to be a part of them? Then that kind of might be a little shaky because it's like it's too close to what we're seeing here in the real world. Going back to what Beneath Forest Park was saying. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know where this is gonna go. We have at least three more books to satisfy this event, the Great War of Separation, maybe a fifth book, and more will come out of it. And I don't think this Great War of Separation is just going to be a start to finish and done. I think what would excite me is that from start to finish, where the finish happens in this Great War of Separation series, something occurs there that wants me to continue on to find out what's the next type of event or series of stories that are going to happen, and I want to purchase those books. Because right now, after this book one, I want to see book number two, and I hope this keeps that traction going. Um, but yeah, that's my little talk about that.
Okay. Killer. Map is already wonky. Something big happened in the past. Yeah, no, and that's the whole gist.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be wonky. I don't think it's supposed to look all nice and divine. So no, I absolutely agree with you there. You think Texas goals to just separate? I think it was not just to separate. It was to separate. It takes a big commitment to do that. There's a lot of things you have to entertain, and there's a lot of inconveniences and a lot of setbacks that come with that stuff. And there's responsibility that also comes with it. So it's also good and freeing, but there's also a lot of complications that could come with that. So I don't feel like it's as minimalistic as it sounds. Maybe I'm just reading your statement wrong, but it's not that it just happened just because. It was clear that there was an event that happened, especially at the border, and Texas is the state that's most affected by it. And because Texas doesn't like being messed with, literally, well, they chose to respond to it. And that's why a lot of those people in that state are defending the guys who, well, did retaliation on the cartels because you don't mess with Texas. And they saw those guys as heroes and one of their own. And I absolutely buy that angle. I do. Did Michael Cup? I don't know. I mean, I don't think he did, but could he play a part in this later? Maybe. Right now, I don't see any signs of. To be fair, I don't see any signs in the story of him having a hand in this. Could that play out later? Sure, but I don't see it. Maybe Rupert guy does or Castillo read. I mean, yeah, sure. But now here we are. All you can be divided, but it's clear this is the thing that really escalates it. So yeah.
going back to the map thing, if you remember how it looks like, Alaska and Hawaii, I don't think is part of the picture of what we're talking about.
Say
I don't
that
know.
again. Sorry,
Alaska,
maybe I miss
Alaska and Hawaii here.
Yeah.
Because you know how all the other markings, it's like this is United States, this is United States, this is Greater Florida, this is Brown House, and then it separates Alaska and Hawaii as their own thing.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I would have thought they would have mentioned, they would have written down United States where Alaska is and United States where Hawaii is. They don't do that in the map.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Maybe that's just an oversight, or maybe I'm supposed to make an assumption that Alaska and Hawaii is part of the United States. I'm not too sure.
Well, I think
But-
it's just something we don't know yet. I think it's a little bit simpler than that. I think it's just something we don't know yet, and I think we'll know it in time. I think, especially with the way storytelling formatting has gone in more recent years, particularly in the last 20, when a lot of things are written for the trade and more decompressed. I think a lot of people have gotten so used to just having everything and knowing everything right out the bat. This is obviously there's a bit of a reverse process of that, which I know for some now they have to undecompress because they're used to a way of storytelling. Now they have to once again undecompress and realize, okay, we're getting sprinkles here of things that are going on. We're just not having all the answers right away. Have I been entertained with the journey? Absolutely, I have. And do I miss this type of format of storytelling? Absolutely, yes. I mean, that's one of the joys of getting involved in this particular medium is to have these little seeds you plant and watching the plants blossom into gorgeous flowers. So I really appreciate that, and I'm glad we're seeing some of that again in this particular universe. So I'm gonna come back to it. It's simpler than that. We just don't know yet, and it's gonna be a matter of time. So there's nothing extravagant there. Watch, I'm gonna read something wrong. It's gonna be something extravagant, but I truly do believe it's simpler. No, really quickly, dude. Can I see? I mean, can you show off your statue? I've wanted I want them big in you. I want to see that statue because that thing is freaking wild.
Oh,
I
you're
don't know
talking about
Yes,
Talking about
you.
you,
Yeah.
your statue.
Yes.
you.
Like I don't. Yeah, please get it.
That gyro is beautiful, man.
All right, we're gonna big in you, so be ready.
Do it.
And the other side says I'm just asking a question. We should all. That's good. You should be asking. You should be asking tough questions. That is nice.
That's glorious.
Yeah,
That's
that
absolutely
is very
glorious.
nice. I like that shite. That is great. Nah, McFarlane Toys killed it. Really did. That is glorious. One day, I
am
hope
so
to
happy
own
with
one
this.
of those one day. That is so nice. Fuck.
It's all textured. Everything is. It's not hollow. It's solid, solid all the way around. And it's
Absolutely
heavy.
fantastic.
Does
Yeah, it
not
looks heavy.
feel-
I can tell you have to be
Yeah.
very delicate with it.
Look at the
That is-
hair too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, the hair is awesome. Holy
So much detail.
shit.
So much detail.
Let me see if I can go a little bit closer here. Can you see?
No, hey.
Yes,
no,
please.
dude,
Yes,
dude.
get it nice and
No,
close.
it is. Oh man. Oh yeah. I feel like Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is nice. So I got number
Brad, yeah.
254. 254 is my number out of 500.
Nice.
Number 254 out of 500. Nice. Dude.
You know who got number one, right?
No, Bruce.
No, not Bruce. It was how do you say his heels?
As
Heels
Heels
versus
Babyface.
Babyface.
Makes
he got-
sense.
As.
He got number
That doesn't
one.
surprise me at all.
No, not at all.
Also- Just since we're on the topic of statues,
oh.
I got ice on.
So you
I got
haven't,
ice
you
on.
haven't
You
come
try
out of the
someone
closet
too?
with that one yet.
Not yet. I'm going to unbox this. If you haven't seen my channel, I did do an unboxing of the Yara statue, so you can see that. I'm going to do another one live as well with this one. Guess the number here. Look at that. I got number 8, baby.
Nice.
I think Bruce got 5. Another fan. I forgot his name. He got number 3. I'm top 10 right there. I like it. So we'll open that soon.
Stephen M. Kellel, referring to your Yaira sesh, said that looks awesome. It reminds me of the Wonder Woman Batman sesh I got with the collector's edition of Injustice Gods Among Us on the 360.
Oh yeah, like the Gods Among Us.
Yeah.
Those look like that.
Hey, it's my guy Eric K. How's it going, Eric K? How you doing, sir?
K.
I cannot wait to hang out with this man, and I cannot wait to have so much of his delicious, spicy, fattening meat in Vegas.
Yeah, you want to put his meat in your mouth. I know you do. Put all of his meat in your mouth. It's worth every single morsel, I promise.
Hey,
it's amazing.
You gotta understand, like, this is gonna be a privilege to be able to consume such fierce monstrosities. Okay, we're gonna have a Rocky 3 moment. we might as well start going jump roping together, like after we consume some ribs together. It's gonna be glorious. Like we're gonna make Dewey Cox proud with this shit. But we got a super chat here from Joe's Atmosphere. He says that looks badass. Yaira is hot. Hail fellas. I think he's sweating a sweat. So from the Yaira statue, I think Joe's Atmosphere had an awakening from where he's sitting. Thanks for the 199, homie. Hopefully you were doing well, sir. Seriously, great to hear from you, Joe. Packet of sausage I made tonight. I have been Oh, you have been packing the sausage. Ah, okay. Of course, I'd expect nothing less from you, Eric. Nothing less. You're consistent and you don't disappoint when it comes to packing the meat. Oh, that's true.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
It's true. Yes. Go sub to Ripper Guy. You absolutely want to sub to the man. So I guess I feel like we've covered a lot of ground with Great War. I want to ask one more thing, and then we'll probably just shoot the shit for like 20 minutes and call it a freaking night. But what's the next book you're looking forward to the most? If you could pick one right now, whether it's pre-existing, a continuing series, or let's make it simpler. What's a new book based on something we have yet to get that you're looking forward to the most?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes, sir. You.
You're talking about Rippaverse Comics or just any comics in general?
Rippaverse Comics of something we have yet to see anything of. So no Horseman, no Alpha Core, no Yaira. Right. What is something that is fresh and new coming out that you're looking forward to the most based off something we have yet to get a continuing issue out of?
Well, based off the announcement from Rippaverse, I want to see the Norfolk stories. The Norfolk books.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I want to say too. That's what I was going to say too.
when ISO number 1 came out, when ISO number 1 came out, it was a good book, and at the very end, you just saw something different. Like that was not advertised at all. Mm-hmm. So reading that last few pages is like, what is this new thing? And then Norfolk came out, and it was like, oh man, these are like godlike beings, live centuries or things like that. They have powers. They're waiting for some other crazy crew or whatever. I'm thinking just a crew of people coming down, and they're gonna fight. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be like crazy good. So I want to see where that story goes. I think many of us, other than the Yaira stories, we wanted Norfolk. I think many of us had. So that's what I want to see.
Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate that.
Yep.
Other side of the fence is Dirty Deeds. Cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah, after I read the cards with all the Norfolker guys on the back of the Dakumon cards, I was like, oh yeah, gimme, come on now. And so yeah, I'm excited for that stuff to finally take off too.
I'll answer my answer. Normally I would say salvage, but technically we already had something from the salvage. Because we had a preview, and it was a good preview and had original material. So I feel like that would technically, on a technicality, be cheating. So I'm not gonna list the salvage as because that would normally be the one. Because we don't have a series, even though he was in the zine. So for a book that has yet to come out of anything, I'm going to go with the I'm actually looking forward to the Lily and Runashi story. Actually, I'm gonna be a very super oddball out. I'm curious to see what is gonna make a lady like her so freaking evil. I'm curious to see why she is the way she is, and well, why does she also have bad taste in guys, and what makes her side with a douchebag like Michael Copper. So I'm hoping that that is a great story that really fleshes out her character. And I've always been into those types of yin and yang stories where it's a puzzle piece type of story. It feels like that. You kind of can't have one without the other. And I'm curious to see how her story is in isolation and how it connects to the sister book. So that's actually the one I'm looking forward to, based off of no other previous material. That's my number one so far. So yeah, little some dudes. I'm trying to think what else have been enjoying lately that is just whatever related, because I have been going through so much material lately. I've been on a reading horror binge lately. I finally started reading Levon's Trade from Chuck Dixon, the actual book. It's based off of the movie A Working Man, and I'm like 30+% into the book, and it's freaking good, man. It's freaking good book. Absolutely traditional vigilante justice thriller story, and I could see where a lot of the threads, just seeing the trailer for the movie, I can see where they're like, oh hey, we're actually gonna be taking this element and presenting it for the movie. So it seems like David Ayer, Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, it seems like they were trying to actually make a faithful movie, perceivably, of course. So once I haven't finished the book yet, but just going off the roots, it seems like it's fairly promising. So I want to make sure that I get that book blazed through, probably in the next few days, read, finished, so I can then move on to book 2. And see what more good old Chucky has made for this Levon Cade character, because I'm liking what I'm getting out of him so far. He really makes Jack Reacher look like a fucking choir boy. I'm serious. He makes it look like a fucking choir boy. A choir boy. No reach around for Reacher. I hear that is a great read, Nick. I hear that too, Eric K. I hear that too. And so far, what I'm reading is great. And I'm feeling great about it. I know next week I'm going to check out Daredevil Cold Day in Hell from Charles Soule. It's probably... I'm going to see what that's like. I will do a review on it for the channel. And if it's horrendous, I will say so. If it's great, I will say so, because authenticity is still the best currency, despite what many would think in a world that is really bogged down in littering and lies, like if it were a fetish. But
There's actually a lot more truth to that than people probably think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pablo.
Dude, I have been working a lot. Just these 2 days, I had a lot of time, and I spent it playing video games. So I haven't even read One Piece. I don't know if it's out yet. Sorry about that. Last week, I just enjoyed the hell out of Invincible, and I have my next target, to be honest. I think I'm going through all Hellboy, and then
Go on.
I need to read Justice, the full run, once again. And since the Long Halloween looks so delicious, I'm going just, yeah. I have a list of comics that I need to just read through binging,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm adding just the good stuff. Because to be honest, when I have a lot of time on my hands, either I'm learning or I'm enjoying, and just going through some good shit that I already know is good, it just makes sense. I don't know. So yeah, but Hellboy is first, because I have the thirst for Hellboy. We read it for Halloween, I guess. Yeah, it was for Halloween, but I want to go through the whole series. They are going with some new stuff. The book that we talked the last week, that they are starting to release, Golden Phoenix is not Golden Phoenix, it's Golden something. It's a beard, doesn't matter. And I don't know if I should read it. I'm worried about that. I'm worrying of them fucking up Hellboy. The Ninja Turtles are absolutely destroyed. I don't know if you have seen what they are doing on the.
The current TMNT book from Jason Aaron. I've
Yep.
not been reading it. I once
Ah,
Kevin Eastman bowed out from the actual run, I have had no incentive to go beyond it with neither Sophie Campbell nor Jason Aaron. I have been reading Saturday Morning Adventures, which is great, especially if you're a dad out there, you want a comic that your kids can read it. Saturday Morning Adventures is the freaking jam. And I know issue 23 came out this week, which I have yet to read still, but the 22 before that are all great. Saturday Morning Adventures gets a strong, long, hard recommend, and Other Side of the Fence is the last Roman Feelings. Huge fan,
is
huge
great.
fan. We actually covered it way back in the day on the channel
Yeah, with Clobby.
when it was a monthly. We covered it, yeah, issues 2 through 5. We did. It was a huge. What's up, Stygian Dogs? And speaking of Stygian Dogs, yeah, the Conan issue from a few weeks ago. That was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Conan the Barbarian number 19. Freaking awesome, man. Oh man, it was intense. It was like it was a creeping up type of issue, and it was really good. So I would say, yeah, Conan the Barbarian is still kicking ass. If people are
Yeah,
looking for other things to to read out there who want
the
a
Energon, uh, the Energon universe going
mhm,
really, really well. Transformers has been solid all throughout.
GI Joe.
I'm yeah. G.I. Joe was great. Cobra was great. We don't talk about Scarlet.
No, we don't talk about that shit. Doug
So
Braithwaite's art though.
it
Oh,
has
Doug
been going
Braithwaite's
hard.
art in Conan's fucking
Yeah,
good.
I'm
Yeah, it is.
right now. I kind of have a hunger for
I thought you
you
were gonna
know
say a
that.
hard on. I'm glad
Oh
you said
no,
hunger.
a hunger for something more old
That too.
school good, right? Because
Yeah.
90s good is entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what to read. Because Fantastic Four obviously is great, but I just went through Fantastic Four recently. Um, Doctor Strange, but which era? Any recommendations?
60s.
Oh, straight up going to Strange Tales. Uh,
Yes, and then into Doctor
Ooh,
I
Strange. Yes.
like it.
You'll thank me, and you'll be like, Nick was right, and then I
No,
will.
I know. It's great.
Okay, so you know even better.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
then
yeah.
do it again. Just do it again. Then, just do it
That's a
again.
great recommendation. Dude, Invincible Iron Man had a lot of good moments, but the issue is that they screw so much with Iron Man that I don't have the energy to go through the beginning just knowing that they are going to fuck up, and it's
That's why you
pretty
gotta create
noticeable.
your own. You gotta create your own endpoint. When you create
Yeah,
your own endpoint, It kind of softens the blow on a lot of these things when you have your own endpoint rather than thinking about how it ends. There's a lot of pain I've been spared because I didn't purposefully go to prolong reading bad things just to keep it going or complete the run or just to talk about it on YouTube. I was done with something, I was fucking done with something.
Yeah, but there's
The
runs
end.
that are finite. You actually know when they are going to end, and that's what I'm pissed about what they are doing with Hellboy, because Hellboy has one of the greatest endings of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if I'm spoiling too much, but Hellboy ends up dragged to hell, and he is just sad and lonely, and he has to think about everything in hell because there's nowhere to go. There's no more fighting, there's no more bullshit. He's just there for the long run. He save the world and make his choice, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And is same like with Invincible. Invincible just ends. It has an ending. And if they started to do Invincible in the future, well, fuck, right?
Speaking
Don't
of
do it.
Invincible, I got progress, and when we come back in 2 weeks, you're
Nice,
gonna hear a progress succeeded.
nice. But same with Hellboy. Hellboy had a perfect ending for me. It
Mm-hmm.
was sad, it was somber, but the series is sad, the series is somber, the series has that tone, so it was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Well,
they are adding up new stuff, so I'm worried about them fucking up the perfect ending that we had, that made the series so fantastic. So when I think about going back to something in Marvel, with the Spider-Man, we had a story with Spider-Man, so I still enjoy going back to Spider-Man with the Fantastic Four. I still enjoy it, but I had to end on a point. With X-Men, you have to end on a point. With Spider-Man, there's uh this is no longer a Spider-Man, and I have to accept it.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
With yeah,
you have to. If you don't, then you're just gonna be in a greater stage of denial, and then you end up getting consumed by that shit, man. And
and you
that
end
could
up
turn
hating the
that could
series.
turn a man crazy. I don't want you to be crazy, Pablo. I
Yeah,
like
I
you as you are.
I like the stuff, and for some reason, I don't know if I'm getting too old. I don't know if I'm just have stopped giving a fuck about new stuff. I wish Spider-Man had an ending. I
Yeah,
wish
I don't disagree. I don't.
a moment in time that you can say this is perfect, and I don't need anything else. Cause goddamn, they are
I agree.
destroying, they are savaging every bit of
Oh
story.
yeah. Oh yeah, no, they've ran the well on him, and it's clear that they are not going to do anything to correct that ship. And you know what? It's fine. I'll hop off that Titanic. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Muhammad said a great comment here. J. Jonah Jameson using Groat to catch Spidey, and Peter encouraging him to do it. Losing Betty, losing confidence after seeing Mary Jane return to the crime. Dude, you're hitting on some gold mines there, dude. You're gonna love
Mhm.
it. Love it. And then Brett, that's why I watch you, Nick. You talk about the positive and keep the negative for less. Yeah, when I want to laugh at the negative, I'll have my moment. I make my peace with it, and then off into the wind it goes. What's up, Hojo? Long time no see, brother. Hopefully you're doing well. Real quick, I want to promote this campaign because I will not be able to get this guy on to promote his book before his campaign ends. But I feel like everyone should at least know about it. So and we're gonna make up to him for lost time for the next issue. But my buddy Russ Leach, he's been on here twice and he's done very well on this channel, both campaigns. I just want you all to know he's got the Atlantean #2. This is his original story on Cole the Conqueror with his buddy Randy Zimmerman. They even got a previous writer from Conan to co-write with this issue. Please look into the link, back it, and there's even a catch-up edition as well. Please look into it. He's got 6 days left in this campaign. I'll fund my comic, and a lot of you have backed his books, and you can all verify he brings this shit in. It comes in on time. You read it, you enjoy it, you love it, and he's just doing it again. He just put out the Atlantean #1, preceded by the Shadow Kingdom, his version of the Shadow Kingdom, a few months sooner. So please look into the Atlantean #2. You will enjoy it. I know I'm going to enjoy it. It's in black and white, too. It's got that big old magazine format. We all love the magazine format. Come on. So please, look into it. Yeah, Leach is a great guy. I was hoping to get him on again, promote you too, but because I got SmackDown, and that's when the campaign ends, I was hoping to pull a 3-for-3 tradition, keep him on for every day of the last campaign. We're going to make up for it with the Atlantean #3, but please do the man a solid and back his book. He absolutely deserves it. And it's super affordable too, which is another thing. So, I don't know. I'm good. I think I've made my piece for tonight. Unless these gentlemen got anything else they wanted to add. No, I think we're all good. We can all go home. You can all go home. You can go to your wives and be happy. Like, Nick, let me go home. We're more girly. Okay. Anyways, chat. Thank you for being here. We had a great crowd tonight. A lot of engagement on the Great War of Separation. Badass. Maybe we'll have to do a follow-up on issue 2. Seems like we had enough conversation to warrant doing it again, so I think it's definitely super necessary. Thank you for your super chats, direct donations, and just to all of you for giving the time to hang out. And we got a few new faces. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you come back in 2 weeks when we take a week up, because I'm taking my kids to SmackDown. When we be back here, business as usual. That all said, on my channel, I did do a review for Yaira #2. Go watch that if you haven't. And I also did a review earlier today for A Working Man. Go watch that as well. They're both spoiler free as well, so nothing gets ruined. So go watch those videos at this show, or just put them on your watch later tab and watch them later. But either way, watch them. That said, I'll be back here next week. Daredevil episode 7 with Mark D with a C, and Toxic Tuesday talking Jet Li's The One. It's going to be fucking wild. Okay. So brace your assholes, dudes. It's going to be huge. So that's what's coming on my channel, and let these gentlemen plug their plugs, and then we're going to get the fuck out of here. Pablo, you're first.
Dude, more videos coming to Minasage. There's a couple of good ones this week, so please take a look. There's one that I don't know if the algorithm didn't like, but yeah, if you have time, go through the couple of videos of this week. They are actually really good. There's a Red Sonja one that was released yesterday. So
I watched it.
Yep.
It's good. It's a good video. Really informative. It followed up greatly on what happened with Solomon Kane. Yeah, it was a great video, dude. Did good as you per usual.
That was mostly Tom.
Tom killed it.
Yeah, it was great. So check them out. Also, we are doing a show in Spanish Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time with my best friend, Minasage Español. We talk about basically random bullshit that is of our interest. So we were talking about the evolution of how multimedia has gone through the ages, from the beginning, from when we were projecting shadows in the world, to right now that basically artificial intelligence can do whatever you want, and soon we are getting it into our brains with Neuralink. Also, we talk about Star Wars because we went on a tangent. The show is called The Tangent, so that's what we do. If you have time, please take a look. Hope you enjoy.
All right. Thank you for being here, Pablo. Love hearing your
Thank you, brother.
thoughts, energy, and contributions to the show. I know the chat appreciates it too. We all know Stephen M. KLL does. Thank you so much, Nick, as well as the esteemed panelists, including Rippa Guy, of course, for a fantastic show this evening. Take care, everyone. Pablo, once again, thank you, sir. Common Nerd, I know you got shit coming up, so plug your plugs, bro.
I do. I dropped 3 videos today. I'm really excited about the one where Jennifer Salke is finally fired from Amazon Prime MGM. The witch is officially dead. Ladies and gentlemen, she is gone. She is melted. So go watch that video. It's happy news. It's good news. James Bond may indeed be saved after all. There's some interesting comments from Jeff Bezos, specifically about James Bond in that video as well, that I think might give some people a little bit of hope. So go check that out. We just crossed 1,700 subscribers on the new channel because we lost our old one. Obviously, rest in peace, the Common Nerd. But we've got all of that stuff. Follow me over on Rumble. Tomorrow we'll probably be finishing up Phantom Liberty DLC for Cyberpunk 2077. So hopefully I can get into some big stompy mech games because I love me some big stompy mech games. Sunday 2 p.m. Bible study. Sunday night 7 p.m. When Who Was Good with our dear sweet Sunker Maiden and Mr. Grant Gregory. We're currently fundraising right now to try to come up with $1,100 to fix my van, upper and lower joints, because so that way we can start going on longer trips with the kids and everything else and not have to worry about all that nonsense. So we're up to 350 so far. We're trying to get to 1,100. So come check us out on Sunday nights. You get plenty of really cool rewards for direct donations. Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. is the morning prep where we go through all of the pop culture and nerd news. Wednesday night we've got midweek hump over there with Shagsworth, all that kind of stuff. Thursday night, Sunker and I do a review and watch along of the Daredevil Born Again. Her and I, unlike apparently everybody else on the fucking internet, actually really liked episodes 5 and 6.
I enjoyed it too. I enjoyed it too.
Okay.
I enjoyed it too.
The Kamala Khan references, I hate it.
Because
there's some action that I like.
No. That line from the Irish guy about Jesus Christ, you're a fucking you're a Charles Dickinson character.
Yeah, I love that.
We died laughing. We were dying laughing in that part.
The whole Irish character was absolutely fantastic.
The Irish mob guys were great. So we've really been enjoying that. There was obviously a few hit or misses, but come join us over there if you don't want to pay for Disney Plus or whatever. We do a Rumble exclusive on that one at the Common Nerd. Because it is fair use, we're pausing it, we're stopping, we're talking about it, we are actually reviewing it. We're not just throwing it up there and walking away, Hassan. And so like we actually do watch it and review it and talk to you guys about it and read your comments out loud. So it's a really good time. Always have fun over there. Sunker and I really enjoy doing all that kind of stuff. And then Fridays are $5 Fridays on my morning prep show where you can come decide how long I stay in the chair. And obviously currently right now I have a co-host of a little chipmunk, and so the daytime streams are a little wild having a 2-month-old co-hosting with you. But other than that, it's great. So come subscribe. Let's get the new channel over to 1,800 and keep on climbing and growing. So I appreciate it. And thank you, Rippa Guy, glad you were here tonight. Fun to meet you. Glad to hang out with you, dude. I love finding another passionate fan, especially about this wonderful indie comic renaissance that we've got going on right now that is glorious and absolutely wonderful. And obviously, always love hanging out with Nick and Pablo. Love you boys. And and you know what? That's great that we're taking next weekend off because I'm taking my kids camping for their April kind of like birthday thing. So that'll work out perfectly. I wasn't going to be here either way anyway.
It was meant to be. Well, let's go. We haven't taken a Friday off in a long time, so
we haven't.
It works
no,
out.
It's true.
But no, Common. Thank you for being here, dude. Great to see you. Once again, sir, you have a great weekend. As always, we'll be in touch soon. And last but not least, to our fantastic guest who, hasn't done much streaming, but he did great on it. And I'm not saying just to blow smoke up his ass. He fit in with the boys just fine. Contribute to the conversation greatly, and should he want to, the door's open for him to come back. There won't be any locks on. So Ripper Guy, plug your channel, sir. You boomered it. Just when I was speaking highly about you for 2.5 hours. Yeah, it took you 2.5 hours to boomer. You actually almost went the entire show without boomering it until the 0 hour. Oh no.
It has been a thing this day.
Oh,
You're
maybe you did boomer it. Yeah, we see you, but we don't hear you. Oh, that's funny. He almost made it to the very end. Yeah.
There we go.
Now you're good.
We got 2, so
Okay.
Now I know where my limits are. 2 hours. All right. No, it's been great. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the back and forth. It's fun. Like I do this a lot on our Facebook group. We have a Rippaverse fans Facebook group. We talk a lot on chat. We talk a lot on posts on X as well. In the Discord, I'm talking to a lot of people in Rippaverse, and it brings me joy just talking about it. So thank you for having me here to do that with you all. I do have my channel. I try to stream. I try to post some videos. I did my most recent stream was unboxing Yara. I want to do my unboxing of the young Isom statue from Iron Studios. So if you are subscribed there, look out for the notifications. I'll get that set up and we can experience that unboxing for the first time, because these are pricey statues, but I think that's just that actual level, that next level
nice.
or layer of experience for comic readers. You just see these things out in statue format, and I think the next level after that is animation and movies. So it's just a joy to see this happening in real time, and I want to share that with you all. So that's my channel. I'm on YouTube, I'm on X, I'm on Instagram right now. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. You're welcome to come back when you want. All right, we'll be in touch throughout time. You know how it is around here. But seriously, thank you for being here. It was great to have you on here. It was a pleasure. Once again, chat, thank you all for being here. As we're out the door, go watch my video review for A Working Man, the new Jason Statham movie based off the story Chuck Dixon wrote that Sylvester Stallone and David Ayer turned into a screenplay. So go watch that, because we're saying goodnight. So this is the end. Goodbye, good fight, good night, bars closed. Go home, scram, get the hell out.
I smell horse shit! It's horrible! But I can smell it!
Smell that shit!